Well, let's go down to Chris Kinley, and Park Ferme beginning to throb again. It's been empty for the last several hours, Chris.
It has been empty for quite a little while. Sensibly, all the teams, all the riders, etc., all getting themselves out the sun. You know, you get handed all sorts of things to mention here, and this is a good thing that I'd like to mention. The Joey Dunlop Foundation would like to say thank you to all their spectators who've been up the Craig this year, whose donations have totalled £1,500. A big thanks to Charlie Bond and Standard Bank, and Kevin, thanks for that information from the Joey Dunlop Foundation. And they've got obviously their little whiskey that they're selling there at the back of the beer tent. Thank you very much for that, Tim O'Hanlon. Now, there's something as well, Tim. I think didn't forget about it, but you just forget about it. I think it's Jeff Duke's 90th birthday. Is it round about now, is it? I think it would be.
It was earlier in the year, that,
Oh,
Chris.
is it? Yeah, but he's 90 now, isn't he? Yeah, he is, yeah. Let's find B-Mac then. Let's find Brian. See how Brian McCormack is on this fine afternoon. Oh, hello, Brian.
Hello, how are you?
All right?
Yeah, not too bad.
What have you been doing downtime?
I was asleep up to about 5 minutes ago and someone decided to throw a bit of water over me, but no, ready to rock and roll now again. 6 laps is going to be hard now after sitting down for a while, you know, but it's the same for everyone. We're going to, hopefully everybody's okay and we're going to have a good bit of fun.
And how are you all knocking around you out at the start of the week?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Isla and Kat and the girls have been looking after me fairly well, and today I feel like nothing has happened, you know, so I'm looking forward to getting out there now and tearing up a bit.
How did the bike feel in the first run?
Good. That's the first time I rode that now since last Thursday, so it dropped the valve on us, so the lads got it back together. So for me, it's good to get a start and a restart, but it's not good for everybody else. But hopefully we can get a good run this time.
All right, good luck.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Thank you very much to Brian McCormack there, good man. And well, he is struggling. If you do see him walking around the paddock, he kind of just hobbles around a little bit. And Neil Champion's up here. Maybe have a word with Neil if we can. Get a chat to the guys. Now, I don't think he would have got away actually in the first one. Let's have a little look. Senior, did he get away before it was stopped? I don't think Neil would have done actually. Stop it, Neil. Let's have a word with Neil and let's get in. Did you get out before they got red flag? Don't think you did you?
No, there was about 4 back from the start when it went.
What went through your mind then?
Well, it's always been red flagged, and actually my first thought was, I think I'd probably rather be here than somewhere out on the course waiting around.
All right, so you haven't had a chance to test some things that you might have changed, like the rest of the lads?
No, we haven't changed anything. I was after the lightweight practice, I realised that on Wednesday, I realised that was the bike I had the best chance on, so I just focused on that.
The big bike happy, okay?
Yeah, I mean, this afternoon, it's the last race of the week. I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself.
All right, good luck.
Cheers, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers, and Michael Niblett's here. Let's have a word with Nibbo if we can. I think he's ready to go, stood next to Mark Herbertson's bike. All right, young Niblett?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. You?
Wham!
Yeah.
Very warm.
Yeah, it's really hot. It's it's been a hard day so far. We're all sweating our brains out and getting ready for the race, and then it wasn't very fun going down Braille, seeing the aftermath there. But I'm just glad that Jono's all right, and it sounds like the spectators are mainly okay. So
they've got injuries as well, but obviously you managed to get away. Were you happy with the bike?
Yeah, we've had issues I was speaking to you earlier in the week and some handling issues, but fair play to Richard Brennish at Olins. He's been helping and we were gradually improving all the time. We just missed out by having the issues in practice week with power because we had a slipping clutch. I've not had many fast laps on it, but I just want to get around, get finished, and then have that as a thanks to the guys for all the hard work they've done. You know, there's been my team and other people who've been out there, MSS, KS Performance, Kev Spur, who's been here lots of times. So, yeah, just glad to be. I'll be glad to get it over with, to be honest. A bit of relief.
Yeah, it's been a long old 2 weeks. All right, thanks for your time, Mike.
All right, thanks a lot.
Cheers, that's Mike Niblett. Thank you very much. Let's see who else is in here. We can maybe grab a word with Eric Wilson's here. So let's have a word with Eric, see how Eric is, and just looking quite cool and calm. Sat on a jerry can. I think you sat on there, is it?
Yes, indeed.
Find a seat.
Most comfortable place in the paddock, this.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now, I bet you it's not. Jerry cans are not the nicest thing to sit on. Did you manage to get out before the stop?
No, there was. I think it was Graham English who was halted, and he was just in front of me before we set off. Obviously, hopefully anybody involved in it is full recovery. Hopefully they're not too serious. And
what about yourself? TT week has been a tough. Michael Niblett's just saying it's been one of the hardest.
Yeah, it has. It's obviously a slow start with the weather. By Thursday, we had only 5 laps of practice, 3 of which were wet, and we normally have about 14 by then. Obviously, I have the pleasure of riding Dave Houston's ZX10. He was kind enough to lend it to me this year for my own little campaign, so it's a bit of a handful to get to grips with, but we've hopefully got it dialed in for the 120. I'd missed it by 4 seconds on Superstock race, so that's the aim of the game for this year.
All right, listen, hope you get that 120. Good luck.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Cheers, thank you. There's Eric Wilson there. Cheers, up round the back. Don't fall over anything. And Mark Parrott, well, he would have got away, I think, a little bit earlier on. And what's up with what's that T-shirt you got there in your hands?
Well, I've been cutting my work T-shirts up for rags, although some of them do look like it to start with.
It certainly do. Do you get a run out on the first bit? Obviously, you got away.
Yeah, got out to just before Ballacrane when we see the red flags and that. So obviously, always just pull up. Nothing you can do is there. Just hope that everyone's all right.
How's the bike feeling?
Felt great. I was really felt on it, sort of thing. Just felt comfortable. So I was hoping for a good race, but we'll have a go now.
All right, thanks.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you very much to Mark Parrott. Cheers, and let's get round and maybe find some more guys to go. What do we got? We're on 8 minutes past, so that's what, 22 plus 8, that's 30. Yeah, I can work that out. I worked it out all on my own. So didn't manage to speak to Cam before the start of the first bit of the race, so he's just having his picture taken with the lady there. So we shan't get in the way of the pictures with the ladies, not at all, Cam. All right?
Yeah, good as gold.
How did the bike feel on the first run?
Yeah, it felt good. Track's hot, but bike was working well, and yeah, all good.
Think tyre issues going to come into this with the heat?
Look, they're all going to wear. They're going to be like bubblegum by the time you come in, but I think it's going to have to take care on some melting bitumen out there, but that's part of riding in the heat.
Where did you see that on the way out?
Coming up over the mountain, there was quite a few sections, and I know a few other spots where it breaks up pretty quickly when it gets hot, because we've had good conditions in past years, so most of the boys will be familiar with it.
All right, Cameron, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cameron. Cheers. He's ready to have a sit down again and just stay out of this sun, because it's quite a warm one out here. It really is. And we see Josh in the corner there. Hopefully he's quite pleased, and just grab a word with Josh if we can. Oh, that fan's a nice thing to have. Wish I had one of them to keep me a little bit cooler. That off there, and not a bad not a bad start to the first run, Josh.
Yeah, no, I was really happy with that. I wasn't expecting to be, anywhere specific in the positions. I was just every lap for me, I'm still learning. So it only makes sense that I'm going to improve as I do more laps. But I actually don't have any fixed goals as I haven't from the beginning of this event. So everything that we've done already has come as a surprise. And the boys said when I got back here to the pits, they said I was in 12th at the Glen Helen checkpoint. So that was again another a great achievement already. And I'm not setting goals for myself, but when they're coming, it does make me feel better that things are steadily improving. And again, now we're going to start the race, and I haven't got any expected goals, but if I can keep improving and keep finding a better line and a smoother line and avoiding the bumps, then I'll just let the times come. But just want to finish out the week safe and sound.
What about all this weight around? You've obviously heard the stories about it. How do you deal with it?
Well, I've been coming here. This is my 5th year at the TT. First year as a rider, but 5th year as to be here for the event. So I'm familiar with all the waiting around. It definitely gets the nerves going when they say, this is the first call for the riders up to the area. So it is trying, but I can't only imagine how frustrating it is for all the people around on the course. I was sat there in the comfort of the truck, in the back trailer unit of the truck there, and chatting away with Guy and talking about the track and the conditions and how it was, and we're both saying it must be difficult for the spectators out there. They've been sat in their prime position since 6 o'clock this morning, to get that perfect spot at the side of the track, and they've been sat here all day. I really feel for the loyal spectators that come to watch.
All right, good luck for the second run.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for that, and thanks to the task. What have you done to my tracksuit, you lot? You horrible lot. Thank you very much. I don't know what have they done to it. What have they done? It's a bit worrying.
You're all right.
Amar, did you get pictures of it?
No, you're all right.
To tell you, wasn't it? It was you. You're watching. Cheers. Thanks. What's that?
I'm not going to tell you. It's on your back.
Oh, is it? Oh, what have they done?
No, I'm not
What
putting it like it.
what have they done? What have they done to me? You're a wind-up merchant. The lot of you are all wind-up merchants. Yeah, well, there's still a bit of camaraderie and there's still a bit of crack down here, which is good, and it's been a long old day for these guys. And that's quite a good point what Josh Brooks said there, that obviously a lot of the guys have been out in their little spot since 6 o'clock this morning. And it was true, because I came in about 7:15 to the grandstand to do the chat show, and the amount of people around the track waiting. John Kennick said the same thing, coming in from where he comes from St John's, absolutely incredible. And a fair play to you all out there, you're all TT fans. And let's maybe go and have a word with this man who's been involved as a TT VIP bloke this week, and we'll just jump around this man here and just get in and maybe go and sign that, Philip. Don't worry about me. Listen, do you want me to hold you? I'll hold your hell crash, mate. There you go. You got somebody's Philip McCallan Motorcycles.com selfless plug. There you go.
What's actually for? This is for a genuine reason. we do a bit back home to help the blood bikes, you know, the men who help us when there's accidents and transport blood. And we're getting this helmet signed by as many riders as we can here, and then we'll put it up for auction and raise some money for the blood bikes. Who as bikers, we know we need those people. So just a little bit. It's embarrassing actually going around, you know, me as a racer, asking other racers to sign.
Have you signed it yourself?
No, not yet.
Yeah, but you will.
I'm too embarrassed to do that. But but them boys, they used to ask for my autograph, so I said, boys, now I'd like yours.
Return.
Yeah, return. You know, but I think we're in for a very interesting race.
We are in a very interesting race, but I want to ask you as a rider, ex-rider, what about you? If you were in their position now, what would be going through your mind, Philip McCallan?
It's hard, you know. They've had a false start. Well, not false start. They've had a start today, and then you've had a break, and then you come back again. People deal with it in different ways. Lucky, really. I was always busy. There was still something for me to do when we had a bit of a hold up to, you know, just something I wanted to do to try and make something better. But it's thinking time, you know, and the boys will be thinking, well, I didn't start that good enough. I done that. I done this wrong. I done this right. And that'll be going through their minds a little bit. Some other people will be just sitting dead cool. They won't even be thinking like that. And they'll just be waiting now thinking, right, I've had one practice start and I'm going for it.
At least to be able to come back and maybe if they've had a couple of problems, maybe change it.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. You know, it always happens. You go down Bray Hill for the first time, you get a couple of miles out the road and you realise, oh, this gearing is just slightly out. I wish I could change it, or I'd like a little bit more compression damping, a little bit more rebound. And it's great when that happens that you get another go at it. So I would say, to be honest, most people now will be the happiest. As for their bike and the way it's set up, they'll be the happiest they've ever been, or should be, because they've had a trial go, and if they want to change it, they can change it now, and it's going to be, I think, one heck of a race.
I think you should get some suntan cream on your head, Philip. It's looking a bit red there, kiddo.
Well, that was actually some clever man called Rutter tried to draw on my head there, and that was removing the paint from it, you know, but I did tell him I'll get him back.
Oh, yes, you will. Thanks for your time, Philip. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks very much to Philip McCallan. And I can't tell you around the circuit that all crossing points are now closed. All crossing points are now closed, okay? So that's a bit of information for you. And here's Derek Shields. Let's have a word with Del, if we can just jump in and have a word with Derek if we can. All right?
Yeah, not a bother. Just waiting for the start now, so looking forward to getting going.
How do you deal with that sitting around malarkey?
Just try and think of something else and maybe go through a lap in your head.
Do you just sit there and visualise the corners, close your eyes, or...?
Yeah, try and visualise the corners and see what gears you're going through and how the bike's handling and stuff like that. And yeah, not too bad, so.
Do you sit there in the chair and do you lean with the chair as well as if you're going through the corners? Come on, you do.
No, I won't go that far now.
All right, good luck for this one.
Cheers, thanks.
Thank you very much. Says the Derek. He's off at Derek Shields off at 40. What are you saying? Oh yeah, does that mean the gate's open, Tim? That is a 15-minute thing, so that means now that the gate will be opening. And Ben Wiley, just watch your back there, Ben. Don't want Ben to get run over. It's not a good idea, considering he's just about to go out with the race. And you just look very unruffled there, Ben Wiley.
Do I? Oh, that's good then. Hopefully I'll be like that over the next couple of hours.
Tough work, tough day.
Yeah. It ruins your mojo a little bit when you have to stop and do all that. But hopefully everyone's all right, and we'll have a bit cooler now, maybe.
Well, I think you're going to get cooler and get in that queue before the queue gets huge for the little boys' room.
Yeah, I'll be second in the queue at the moment. So that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's all right, behind Paul Owen anyway, which is worrying. Don't follow him in.
No.
Good luck.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. All right, thanks very much for that. And Jimmy Starr is here. Jimmy, we'll get to the queue to the toilet. All right?
Not bad, yeah.
First run, okay?
I only got to cut Michael and it felt quite good and quite comfy, so see what happens this race.
It's going to be warm work.
Hopefully I'll cool down a bit more shade.
All right, Jim, cheers. Thanks for your time. Just join the queue, Dino. Join the queue. There we go. Let's get up on the road. The Milwaukee Yamaha of William Dunlop being brought forward, and Michael Rutter, his machine, also here, and he's just coming up the ramp. And you've been here before, haven't you?
Yeah, another go, eh?
Another. You've been here, sat around waiting, though. I mean.
Oh, yeah. We've done this for years, haven't we?
We're thinking back to Paul Orrit, that 99, I think it was, Paul Orrit. Were you here that year?
Yeah, it was steering Nampo, wasn't it? I think it was.
Right. That's Formula 1 race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it goes back a few years, eh?
It does, horrible Orrit. All right, good luck, Michael.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much, Michael. I think he's just wanted to get into the shade, and quite interesting. I must actually find one of the tyre boys and just find out what the track temperature is. It'd be quite a handy thing to try and get that information, because obviously track temperature is going to be quite critical. It is quite warm, well, very warm actually, with the sunshine. And here we're about what's that now? 13 minutes away from the start. Now, we did manage to speak to Guy Martin before the start of the first run. Hopefully we might be able to now. His machine isn't here as of yet. I can see Simon Andrews just coming out. Who else can we see? I don't know if it's just me, but it doesn't have the buzz of a little bit earlier on. I'm sure it's going to when it gets going, but it just doesn't. Yeah, even Mark Tiley, our producer, even he's turned around and said it doesn't have that that buzz, that kind of, yeah, I don't know. It'll probably come in a minute or two, I would say. Philip McCallan getting Simon Andrews to sign the lid. Davey Johnson, we spoke to him before the first run a little bit earlier on, but and it's been nice to speak to a tyre guide. Mark and Tim, if you keep an eye out for a tyre guy, all right, and just, I want to get their thoughts on track temperature and stuff. Maybe Jason Griffiths. Yeah, it's just one of the guys on the front just putting the tyre warmers on Conor's bike. Yeah, that's just a call for the 15-minute start of the race. Slick Bass, hello Tony, how are you, buddy? Nice to see you. You're all right. Well, let's have a word with Steve Mercer, who's whoa, hey, yeah, what was the pit crew like doing pit crew for Chad?
Oh, we was on the pipe. Although I did nearly mess up the fuel cap, and he sort of looked at me and I thought, oh, don't get it wrong again. So yeah, no, we got it right, but no, it's good.
You did it with Charlie Borman as well, I believe.
Yeah, it's quite an honour, really. It, yeah, no, I've watched A Long Way Down and stuff, and yeah, no, I've always looked up to him, so that was pretty cool.
What about the first one? How was that for you?
What race?
Yeah, the first bit.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was absolutely spot on. It, you know, it was good. I was just getting into a bit of a rhythm, and obviously the red flags come out, and hopefully everyone who was involved is all right, and there's not too many injuries. So, yeah.
No tweaks?
No, we're going to go again as it is, and just sort of see what happens. Really, I mean, we've only got a super stock bike, so we've been riding it as it is, sort of all week. So I don't really want to change anything now. We just go out, do a few wheelies and skids for the kids, and see what happens.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Thank you, and good to see Rico here as well. Rico, nice to see you. Rico Penscover, of course, now a retired TT man. So what they're going to do, who's going to have the right frame of mind, that is what I think is going to come into play. You know, it's getting yourself back into that little frame of mind again, building yourself back up, and I wonder if Conor can do that. He was on such a bit of a high a little bit earlier on with his dad. And Conor, how are you going to build yourself up? I mean, from the podium to start and down and up again, how are you going to do it? How'd you do it?
Just going to have to get on with it, really. It's, I don't know. Just as soon as the fly drops, go for it, try as hard as you can, that's all we can do.
How did it feel on the first run with different bars and all the different things you made?
Yeah, it wasn't great, but we've changed it again. I just have to suck it and see what happens, and I'll go for it.
All right, Conor, thanks very much. Cheers. We'll let him get to the shade and let him get under the shade. Right, let's move forward, because there's a couple of people we didn't speak to. Oh, hang on, I'm being dragged forward by Tim O'Hanlon. That's a bit worrying. He's totally dragging me forward. And where are we going? Oh, the Dunlop boys, and find out what is the track temperature, boys? What is it? 38. Yeah. 38 to track. What's the optimal track temperature?
For us,
for the Dunlop boys,
mid-30s.
So it's a little bit above. All right, okay, so it's 38 and it's mid-30s. Okay, well that's kind of interesting. Now it'd be interesting to see what Jason Griffiths has to say on that as well. Okay, just asking for the remaining competitors to be brought forward now. Let's see if we can get in around. Didn't manage to speak to Guy before the start of the other one. Good. Where did all these people just arrive from? All of a sudden, like 3 million people have just arrived on the grid, and it's a bit of a battle to get across. Just watch out. That gentleman's not happy because he just walked right in front of his shot. And Conor's there talking to his crew chief. And Neil Hodgson's also here. And if we say, what do you reckon? Don't fancy waiting around to go down there, Neil, dear?
I'll tell you what, I am the biggest TT licker there is in the history. I've turned into the world's biggest fan. I just love this sport. And standing here, I mean, I have never experienced anything like it, the atmosphere. I'm so nervous.
Think about, were you up here for the first run?
Yeah.
How big was that?
I mean, don't get any bigger than that, does it? I mean, literally, in all the years I've been coming here, I've never seen a response like that. I mean, it's literally, I can't believe how big the TT has become. I mean, all credit to you people like Paul Phillips behind the scenes, people like yourself, the hard work you do, North One. I mean, it really is incredible, and ITV4, they put on such a great show, and these lads are warriors, absolutely warriors, and I'm in awe of what they do.
Class. All right, Neil, thanks for your time.
Cheers, thank you.
It's Neil Hodgson, cheers, thanks very much for that. And Gary Johnson, didn't get to speak to Gaz. He was up at the sharp end at the start. Oh, let's get in here. This is nice under here, wee man.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Chilled. First run was good for you guys, going well.
Yeah, obviously got a good first sector in. You know, I made a couple of mistakes on the second sector, and John had pulled us back a bit. So got to rectify them faults. It's going to have to be faultless laps for 6, I reckon. You know what I mean? Where the boys are going, it was tight at the front. Like I say, it was only some small mistakes. I knew I wasn't pulling the speeds I should have been going, so I knew I would have been dropping back more than what I wanted to. But there weren't big mistakes, so obviously the boys are on it. Melting tires a little bit, in the back of your mind when you're tipping in Rencullen and on the mountain there a bit, but it's good. What more can we ask for? Some wishes out. Hope everybody's good with the accident down Bray Hill. Thoughts go out to all them people that's been hurt there.
All right, Gary, listen, good luck for the second run.
Cheers, Bud.
Cheers, thank you very much. As the TV guys move in for a bit of an interview, we must say happy birthday to Ian as well, who's in the hospitality, and let's chat, if we can, to Granty and see what he makes of all this. Mick, Grant, what do you make of all this? Things you must have seen in your time here. This is just, you can't comprehend it, can you? But I bet you can.
No, it's manic, isn't it? But I mean, what a fantastic finale. I mean, we've got drama even before the race had got underway properly. You couldn't script it any better, could you, really?
Were you here on the start line for the first build-up? I mean, what an atmosphere it was here then, wasn't it?
I've seen some tension on the line, but I'm sure this is about the most I've ever seen.
To a full race, I think.
Full race, and I mean, I thought they'd run it over 5 laps, I must admit. But value for money, crikey, another 6. They've had 7 laps.
What more do they want?
Well, unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, and a quarter of a lap, under their own power, they could do what they want.
Yeah, that's right. And I know that I'm talking to Gary, and he's been altering 1 or 2 little things. It's amazing. You go out on a bike that's just about perfect. The temperature changes, and they don't just quite handle the same. And everyone's in the same boat, and I'm sure everyone's done the odd little tweak from that lap, which was almost like a practice lap, if you like,
38-degree temperature, and wow, that's hot.
Well, I remember it, in the good old days, we used to have melting tar, and
there is melting tar again this year.
Yeah, you just don't need that, do you?
No, not at all. What was that like? I mean, you obviously got to watch, ain't you?
You've got to be very, very careful. And I mean, hopefully they'll have flags out saying limited edition. And once you've got that, as long as you've got that, and the rider can see there's maybe problems ahead, then they'll cope with it without any problem.
Mick, thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Cheers, thanks, Mick, Grant. And let's get in round Philip Neal if we can, and quick chat to Guy. And Guy, hello.
How, mate?
You all right?
Yeah, not so bad. Are you?
Well, yeah, I'm a bit warm in here. I don't know about you, but second run. And what about the first run? And how was she going?
Yeah. Steady. I had a good run out to Ballath. No bothers. So yeah, out first, but it's a 2-hour race, isn't it? But yeah, everything was sort of going to plan. So I just got to go out and try and do the same again.
We've got a cracking picture of you on our Manx Radio Facebook page. If you stopped outside the Chiropodist in Ramsey, everyone's commented on there. Have you getting your feet done?
Oh, is that what I was? Is that where I was?
It's in Ramsey, yeah. The Chiropodist.
Oh, no. I was just talking the last day. She'd been out on the Raz the night before, and she was. We woke her up. Oh yeah, we're just laying back on the door. Yeah, she'd been out on the Raz. Anyway, yeah, it was. It's all right. So, yeah, get stuck in again. It's not the best, is it? There's a lot of melted tar. I mean, we got a right trip over the mountain there on the way back, and there's a right load of melted tar, so it's not going to be ideal.
38-degree tack temperature, is that a bit warm?
38, I'm not designed for that. Man alive. Well, no, I suppose we're all British, aren't we? We're not designed for 38 degrees, definitely not.
And Manx, not British.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Manx are British, but Manx, you know what I mean? It's like me saying you're from Yorkshire, but you're not.
Cheeky bugger.
Yeah, he's now. Good luck, Mucker. All right, thanks, Guy. Cheers. Right, let's get out of the way of the scrum, and it is a scrum as well, and let's see if we can have a chat to James Hill. He's at 5 minutes to go to the start. I think I heard there's that many people around here at the moment. It's kind of a bit bedlam, to be truthful. Honestly, it's kind of like, I know. Sorry about that. Little bit of sorry. Oh no, don't take pictures. You get scared. Put it on the mantelpiece. Keep the kids away from the fire. Right, let's just jump on. Excuse me, sir. Got to do it all again, James Hill here.
Yeah, it's this is the worst bit. Once you get going, it's okay. But I was praying we're going to be down to 4 laps there, but we know.
Why down to 4?
It's easier.
No, because you want to go to sleep and get the boys to the beer tent to buy them beer after winning the race earlier on.
I don't know. I'm made today. I'm happy, but on a serious note, we've got another race now, so I'll race head on, and again, I'll just push as safe as I can till the end and see where we are.
All right, James, thank you very much for that. James Hilly, the boys will be getting ready, just unplugging the tyre warmers now. Aside Fulton, easy now. What's that belly that's kind of grown, actually, TT, with sausage baps and bacon baps and all that malarkey that we've been eating. It'll be about 3 minutes to go. Let's give you the information from the board, and we're going to get going again for the rerun. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you very much, Flower. I don't know what it is, but it couldn't have been that. It was. Oh, I tell you, this is important, actually. 50 years ago, not my dad, raced my mum to the Jane Crookall Hospital. She was going into labour. He then sped after leaving her at the hospital to the grandstand so he could wave the checkered flag for the senior race. He didn't get to meet him until the evening when the races had finished. A big hello to John and Helen Slater. After 50 years, I'm able to watch the races with my dad. Oh, I suppose it is. Anyway, right, conditions perfect all round. Be aware, graffiti, blah, blah, blah. Have a good, safe race. Melting tar at Grieber Bridge, Birkins Bend and Guthrie's, the mountain box, and there will be flag shown you. A few of the riders saying about that, about the melting tar around the circuit. 38 degrees, you heard the Dunlop guys say. And, well, the optimum temperature is mid-30, so it's a little bit above that. So that's going to make it very, very interesting. And I'm just under the shade here now of the trees, just by they come to the start line, and they'll be rolled forward very, very shortly. And James Hillier with the honour of starting off the PokerStars Senior TT over 6 laps. Tim, I said it a few hours ago. I don't know what time that was. It seems an absolute age ago. And we'll leave it to you to take them off the line.
Thank you, Chris Kinley. Yes, the road will be hot, and the action we're hoping is going to be equally as hot here on the Isle of Man as we await the start of the PokerStars Senior TT. Michael Dunlop going for 5 in a week with 2 minutes to go to the start. John McGuinness, well, he's aiming for 20 wins and the most podiums by any rider in TT history. Gary Johnson right on the pace earlier today. How is he so relaxed on that pre-race interview with Chris Kinley? Bruce Anstey after his first big bike win. So many others could feature. Well, who are we going to have in that frame and on the podium in around an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes time? The podium 2 years ago reminded John McGuinness the winner, Guy Martin second and Bruce Anstey third. Josh Brooks, we're hearing going well in that first race, up to 12th, fastest ever newcomer. How well will he go today? 127.726 miles per hour as we now approach a minute and 10 seconds to go. Listening live patiently like everyone else in the early hours of the morning in New Zealand. Wish Bruce Anstey all the best, and that's from the Corlett clan. So the audience down in New Zealand, it'll be, well, goodness me, that is dedication, isn't it? Staying up, the radio probably over under the duvet, listening to the action. We're less than a minute away from the start of the PokerStars Senior TT, and I look to my right now, and I can see the Monster Energy Arch. The grid girls there in position, the starter there. James Hillier is under the arch, little bit of shade offered there now. He's on the Quattro Plant Kawasaki. Less than 30 seconds to the start. They're lining up behind him. And there is the sun glinting on the fairing. Cameron Donald with the Wilson Craig Racing Honda is next. Then John McGuinness on the TT Legends bike as we approach 10 seconds to the start. Massive amount of people on that grid. 5 to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. We go again with the PokerStars Senior TT as James Hillier goes away. Good smooth start there from the Bournemouth man. Next, little bit of a kangaroo hop appropriately there from Cameron Donald on the Wilson Craig Racing Honda, but he's got that machine, the Honda, revved now to the limit. Here's John McGuinness on the TT Legends bike. Little bit of a hop again there as he went past the podium. Guy Martin on the Taiko Suzuki went wide towards the scoreboards, but much more central this time around. The blue and white leathers, the yellow helmet of Guy Martin away. Bruce Anstey's next on the HM Plant Honda by Paget's. Black and orange fairing on the bike. Anstey away. Here's the man of the meeting, Michael Dunlop. Feet down on the back. Front wheel popping up in the air again as he approached the bottom of pit lane. 7th away, Lynx Lifting Limited Honda, it's Gary Johnson. That looked a good, quick, smooth start from Johnson. Michael Rutter is at number 8. That bike really flipping up as it went past the hospitality there, giving the VIPs a treat. Dan Stewart on the SMT Honda. Just hops up as they change gear and put more revs through. Now we've got Conor Cummins, 10th away. Milwaukee Yamaha, the Ramsey Rocket, has launched. William Dunlop, his teammate, Milwaukee Yamaha. Tucked right in there, under the bubble of the screen was William. Dan Neen on the Marks Bloom Racing Suzuki is away. Coming a little bit nearer towards the gasoline alley this side of Glencrutchew Road. 13 is Steve Mercer on the BMW, the Pens13.com BMW. Dean Harrison got on the podium just like his father and son, both making the rostrum. Tremendous TT for the Harrison family. Ian Locker and his farewell appearance at the Isle of Man TT. Wish you well, Ian. What a servant he's been. 10 TT wins. David Johnson, who had problems at the start in the first start, much smoother away. And grateful for that will be Simon Andrews, who was having to navigate around him from the start. He can aim that RAF Honda straight down the middle of the tarmac this time around. Ben Wiley is number 18 away. Little gap at 19, a non-starter at 19, so we'll get that distinctive pink and day-glowy helmet of Davy Morgan. Davy Morgan on the Strangford Caravan Park Suzuki is away. Interesting combination, the pink helmet and the yellow bike. Bit of a colour clash as he goes on around the mountain course. Sean Anderson starts his campaign, being quick on the big bikes all throughout the TT fortnight. Here's the fastest newcomer ever in the history of the Isle of Man TT, Josh Brooks. Good start there by the Australian. Jamie Hamilton, good TT for Jamie. KMR Kawasaki. Lee Johnson on the East Coast Construction Honda now. Number 58 leaves the starting line. Blast down underneath the Monster Energy Bridge, down towards St Ninian's Crossroads. Daniel Cooper on the Centurion Racing Honda is next away. And now we'll have Brian McCormack on the KMR Kawasaki, Ryan Farquhar's team. But let's go to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
Thanks, Tim. We're ready for action here. The crowd's starting to stir. We can hear engine noises coming up the valley. Here is the first machine on the road, and it is James Hillier. He's neatly through here on his opening lap of this restarted six-lapper. Next bike interview, little wobble at the front end there as Cameron Donald gets on the brakes, but there's no problems there. He's neatly through as well. And there he looks like he's being caught on the road though. John McGuinness, that gap didn't seem like 10 seconds to me, and it wasn't. McGuinness a second quicker than Cam Donald here to Glen Helen on the opening lap. But there's a little bit more traffic to come before we can give you that leaderboard. Here's Guy Martin on the Tyco Suzuki. He's on the power and making that climb up towards Sarah's Cottage, but the gap is less than 10 seconds there, I'm sure, with Bruce Anstey. Anstey right up there, and he's pulled a couple of seconds nearly there back on Guy Martin. There's Michael Dunlop, the man of the meeting as he's been called, and he is fastest here to Glen Helen on this opening lap. And now we'll see how fast he was, because there's Gary Johnson, and Gary Johnson now takes the top of the leaderboard. So Johnson got on the power then on the opening sector of this restarted PokerStars Senior TT. Here's Michael Rutter. He's safely through here, and he's on the pace as well. Rutter drops into third place on the leaderboard. So Johnson leading at the moment, Michael Dunlop second, Michael Rutter third, John McGuinness fourth. But I think we'll need to see those Milwaukee Yamahas here first. Here's 9 through, that's Dan Stewart on the Wilcock Racing Honda. Dan Stewart through, he's held position, but Connor's caught him. Conor is catching Dan Stewart, and William Dunlop's catching Conor as well. So William Dunlop, he drops into second place on the leaderboard. A cracking opening sector for William Dunlop. The leaderboard then, Gary Johnson leads, but he has a half a second advantage over number 11, William Dunlop. Michael Dunlop third, he is just 0.05 of a second down on brother William. There's Dan Neen through. Dan Neen doesn't trouble the top 5. Michael Dunlop third, Michael Rutter fourth. He's a second down on Michael Dunlop. John McGuinness fifth. He is just 1/100th of a second down on fourth place. 2 through together there, Steve Mercer and Dan Neen, was that? No, Dean Harrison. Dean Harrison caught Steve Mercer on the road already. Steve Mercer was leading the privateers this morning before that lightweight TT. Remains to be seen whether or not he can pick enough points to take the title. 15 through there now, that's Ian Locker. And he's closely followed on the road by Dave Johnson. So Johnson eating his way into Ian Locker's starting difference. But what a ride. Gary Johnson leads from William Dunlop. Michael Dunlop third. Michael Rutter fourth. 17 through now. That's Simon Andrews. He's a little bit steadier. John McGuinness fifth. Then Bruce Anstey sixth. Cameron Donald seventh. James Hillier eighth. Dean Harrison ninth. And Guy Martin 10th. 18 comes through. That's Ben Wiley. Conor Cummins into 11th, Dan Neen 12th, Dan Stewart 13th, Dave Johnson 14th, Simon Andrews 15th, Steve Mercer 16th, Ben Wiley 17th, and Ian Locker 18th of the 18 through so far. But it appears to be the Dunlop brothers and Gary Johnson who are having the opening scrap on this first lap, as Davey Morgan tipped it into the left-hander here at Glen Helen. And he's being caught on the road by 33, Sean Anderson. And Sean Anderson in turn is being caught on the road by Josh Brooks. Brooks now drops into the leaderboard in 12th place. What a cracking start that is for him. 12th place for the newcomer Josh Brooks. He splits Conor Cummins and Dan Neen on that leaderboard. But there's less than 10 seconds between the top 10, I think, so it's still far too early to tell as Jamie Hamilton comes through. Another machine now down the gear into the left-hander. That's 58, Lee Johnston. He goes in 19th place on our opening lap leaderboard. As another machine now into the left-hander. That's Daniel Cooper on the Honda. Cooper is, he is into 19th place now. Pushes Lee Johnson down one. But those top few riders, I think 10 seconds split in the top 15 on the opening lap here. That, I think, was Brian McCormick just through on the Kawasaki. And Brian McCormick just outside the top 20. 31 through now. That's Jimmy Storer. And Jimmy Storer, again, just hovers outside the top 20. Another machine now, little flick to the right, onto the brakes, into the left-hander. That's 34, Jamie Coward. Another solid start from Jamie. And now 32 comes through. That is Stephen Thompson on the People's Bike. So we pause for breath and have a little look back at that leaderboard. Too early to really tell who's got the advantage. We've seen on the first lap that Paul Shoesmith there just comes through. We've seen on the first lap that Gary Johnson did lead here at Glen Helen, but that advantage was pulled back by Balaf Bridge. 44 goes through there, Derek Shields. The top five then, Gary Johnson leads, William Dunlop, Michael Dunlop third, Michael Rutter fourth, John McGuinness fifth, but less than 2 seconds separating all five on Glen Helen at lap one. Now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
It's like shuffling a pack of cards, because at Balaf Bridge, none of that top five are in the positions they were at Glen Helen. It's Michael Dunlop who leads by 0.3 of a second. Third is ahead of Gary Johnson. Third is John McGuinness. He's 0.8 behind Johnson. William Dunlop is fourth, 1.3 behind McGuinness. Michael Rutter, fifth, 1.2 behind Dunlop. Nothing separating really Cameron Donald and Bruce Anstey in sixth and seventh. What a terrific tight race. It's anyone's in these opening stages. Someone needs to get a grip and take control, but they can't at the moment. There's hardly any time. Right down to 11th place. Terrific stuff. And Sulby Speed Trap, John McGuinness, 192.3. Let's go to Roy Moore at Ramsey.
Yes, the crowd stir down the road, so we know for a fact there's machines in the Ramsey area. We're just waiting. We're expecting James Hillier to be the first to approach us here at Ramsey Hairpin. Hardly anything in it at Balaf Bridge, and it is James Hillier here now. These big bikes are quick, aren't they? Through he goes, and right behind him is Cameron Donald. So I would say there's less than 10 seconds there, then a very, very fast approach by John McGuinness now here at Ramsey. And a good line too, tight, brilliant sunshine right over as far as you can go. Inevitably they rip off on the end of the Poker Stars banner there, and that now fluttering in the road as John McGuinness is through. Another very fast approach, and this is Guy Martin. Guy Martin, number 4 here at Ramsey. Well, we're just waiting for the others to go through to see whether Michael Dunlop, who we're expecting next, is still maintaining that lead. But Bruce Anstey is here, but Michael Dunlop's right behind him. He's cut back to 10 seconds. It's within a couple of seconds there, and Michael Dunlop leads here at Ramsey from Gary Johnson, who we should expect to see now. And here is Gary Johnston. He's here with us now. So what is the time difference? Flames coming out of that right-hand exhaust there. He gets tucked in, and he too just takes the fly spattered rip-off off and up towards the waterworks, and it's 1.1 second. 1.1 second. There's Michael Rutter now through. He too tight, and the tyres working overtime as they get the full grip going. But at Ramsey, it's number 6, Michael Dunlop, who leads by 1.137 seconds from number 7, Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson, in turn, is only 1 second ahead of number 3, John McGuinness. We then have in 4th place number 8, Michael Rutter. He's only 3 seconds down on John McGuinness. Within 6th place, number 2, Cameron Donald. 1, 2, 3, as quickly as that. The first is Conor Cummins. There's the other Dunlop, that's William Dunlop, and between them was Dan Stewart. So how do they shuffle into the leaderboard? Well, we've got William Dunlop, number 11, up now to 4th place. He's only 3 seconds down on John McGuinness. That relegates Michael Rutter to 5th, but only half a second down on William Dunlop. At 6th, Cameron Donald, just half a second down on Michael Rutter. In 7th place, number 5, Bruce Anstey, 2 seconds down on Cameron Donald. 8th, number 4, Guy Martin, only half a second down on Bruce Anstey. And James Hillier completing the top 9, 2 seconds down on Guy Martin. There's Dan Neen and Dan Stewart, the last two, and that last one there was Dean Harrison. So that's appropriate because James Hillier, we had the last as 9th. We have in 10th place, number 10, Conor Cummins, 2 seconds down on Hillier. It's then 11th, 14, Dean Harrison, just half a second down on Cummins. 12th, Dan Stewart. 13th, Dan Neen, and 14th, Steve Mercer, because that bike you can hear going through is the machine of Steve Mercer, and he's through. We're expecting David Johnson to arrive here to see where he will slot into that top 12, maybe. Might just make the top 12 because he's here now. And he tips it into Ramsey hairpin. Number 16, David Johnson. He's just outside the top 12. He's 13th. In fact, Ian Locker is here now, and Simon Andrews will be too far away, I wouldn't have thought. And Steve Mercer as well. He drops a place there. Another machine interview. That is Simon Andrews there. So where does he slot into our leaderboard? He slots into 15th place, 4 seconds down on Dan Neen. Within 16th place, Steve Mercer, only half a second down on Simon Andrews. And then at 17th, Ian Locker, 9 seconds down on Steve Mercer. Within 18th place, number 18, Ben Wiley. Is this him now? It certainly is. This is Ben Wiley here at Ramsey. Down the brilliant sunshine. He has a quick look on his left side too to see what the position is. But he is 3 seconds only down on Ian Locker. So I think that completes our top 19 there. There'll be, as they go through, we expect to see shortly Sean Anderson and, well, LC2C, Davy Morgan. So there's Sean Anderson, Davy Morgan, and there's Josh Brooks through. So where does Josh Brooks slot into that? We've got him in 14th place here at Ramsey, but he's only half a second down on David Johnson. So David Johnson moves into the reckoning in 13th place. In 14th, Josh Brooks. 15th, Dan Neen. 16th, Simon Andrews. 17th, Steve Mercer. 18th, Lee Johnson. 19th, Sean Anderson. 20th, Ian Locker. Jamie Hamilton is here, just getting clipped on the inside there, but not clipped, but certainly Ian Locker. Daniel Cooper was the man that he was battling with there. And Daniel Cooper 20th, Ian Locker 21st, Jamie Hamilton 22nd, 23rd for Ben Wiley, and 24th for Davy Morgan. There's number 24, Dan Cooper through. And at the bungalow, I can tell you, Michael Dunlop is maintaining that 1.5 second lead, but it's now over John McGuinness at the bungalow. The bungalow, I repeat, with in 3rd place, Gary Johnson, just 1 second down on John McGuinness. William Dunlop, just 4 seconds now. It's extended down on Gary Johnson. So Michael Dunlop by 1 second at the bungalow from John McGuinness. We expected it, and it's happening. Number 31, that's Jimmy Storrer through Ramsey as well. Where does he come into our leaderboard? As we expect Jamie Coward to be the next here, and Brian McCormick. Who are they? Yes, that's the order that they arrive here at Ramsey. 34 and 32. Number 34 goes up. Lee Johnson is going well. He's up to 18th here at Ramsey, and he's only half a second down on Steve Mercer. So I think we've got your top 28 out on there, so that's it. But at the bungalow, there's only 1 second in it between Michael Dunlop and John McGuinness. What will it be back at the Royal London 360 Grandstand?
John McGuinness, Cameron Donald and James Hillier. The lights are on for all three at Cronknamona. Additional non-starters, Jonathan Howarth and David Paradays, number 68 and 62. And spectators between Graham's and the bungalow are asked to stop feeding the goals. Very dangerous indeed. Now we're racing. Also now at the Cronknamona signal point is Guy Martin, John McGuinness, and we're waiting for Dunlop. It's less than a second at the Cronknamona. John McGuinness is the man on the move. Less than a second, 0.9 at Cronknamona. James Hillier is about to come streaking past us here, past the grandstand. He's on to Glen Crutchley Road, and John McGuinness not too far behind him. 20-second interval between their starts. Here's Hillier. And the time for Hillier through the trap. Well, there's some fast times here. John McGuinness is through. John McGuinness, 130.790 on the opening lap. 130.790 from a standing start. There's Cameron Donald. And there is Guy Martin, very quickly behind him. Guy Martin, 130.054. James Hillier, 128.9. Cameron Donald, 127.796. Just waiting for the leaderboard. Michael Dunlop through, and at the grandstand, Michael Dunlop has a 1.3 second advantage and 130.965 for Michael Dunlop, just shy of the 131. 130.965 for Michael Dunlop, who has a 1.3 second advantage over John McGuinness. McGuinness 3.5 ahead of Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson 1.6 ahead currently of Michael Rutter. We await William Dunlop to come through. William Dunlop lights are on for him at Cronknamona, and he's right with his teammate Conor Cummins, started 10 seconds behind, and behind them is number 9 Dan Stewart. So let's just see where William is going to feature in this leaderboard. There they go, Williams ahead, and a big wheelie. The front end really lifted up on William Dunlop's bike going through the grandstand. William Dunlop is down to 6th. He's dropped to 5th at Cronknamona and down to 6th at the grandstand. Michael Rutter is in 4th. Guy Martin is up into 5th place ahead of William Dunlop. Rutter 4th. He's 1.6, as I say, behind Gary Johnson. Guy Martin 0.6 behind Rutter. And, well, Guy Martin has a 0.2 of a second advantage right over William Dunlop. It's so close after the first 37 3/4 miles. Let's give you the lap time for Michael Dunlop. 17 minutes, 17.130 seconds. John McGuinness, 17 minutes, 18.519 seconds. Gary Johnson, 17 minutes, 22.071 seconds. Michael Rutter, that will be his quickest ever lap round here. He joins the 130 mile an hour club, 130.137. Guy Martin, 130.54. William Dunlop, 130.28. The top 6 all over 130. What a start to this PokerStars Senior TT. Going further down the leaderboard, 6th place William Dunlop, 7th is Bruce Anstey, 3.2 behind William Dunlop. Bruce Anstey is 5.8 seconds ahead of Hillier in 8th. Hillier is 1.3 seconds ahead of Conor Cummins in 9th. Conor Cummins is 1.9 ahead of Dean Harrison, who's in 10th. Cameron Donald's a further 5.7 seconds back in 11th. Another 5.4 seconds back in 12th is Dan Stewart. David Johnson is 13th, 9 seconds back on Stewart. Dan Neen is 14th. He's 2.3 behind David Johnson. 15th, Simon Andrews, 6.3 behind Dan Neen. And then it's Steve Mercer, Ian Locker in 17th. But Josh Brooks will feature in that top 15 or so, going well in these early stages. but 6 riders over 130 on the opening lap here around at the grandstand around the mountain course. Terrific action, and we're going to find out who's in the lead at Glen Helen very shortly. That's how quickly these machines are going. And just tell you that we haven't got yet Josh Brooks in. We've got to go to Glen Helen. Dave Christian, breathless.
Yes, thanks, Tim. Welcome back. Again, the crowd just starting to get restless here as we can hear some engine noise approaching up the valley. 2 on the road together, and it looks like John McGuinness has got ahead of James Hillier on the road. McGuinness got clear track in front of him now. He is ahead of James Hillier on the road, and both safely through here on their second lap. The time differences at the end of that lap are really, really tight in the top 7 as the number 4 Suzuki Guy Martin through here on his second lap, but right behind him on the roads Cameron Donald, and they're both safely through here. Looks like Guy's got ahead of Cameron. There's Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey together. Dunlop still tops the pile. The gap still 1 second here, 1 second at Glen Helen on lap 2. Michael Dunlop's advantage over John McGuinness. Guy Martin currently in 3rd, but we'll have a little bit of a wait before we can confirm that as Gary Johnson comes through. Indeed, Gary Johnson does drop into 3rd. So Dunlop leads McGuinness by a second, Johnson 3rd, but we'll have to wait and see. Rutter, there's Michael Rutter through. Michael Rutter, he goes 4th now, just pushes Guy Martin down a place. Still only 9 seconds separating the top 5, 10 seconds separating the top 6. So this is really turning into a tight race, and those sort of time differences can be easily won or lost in pit lane, and we are just approaching a fuel stop at the end of this lap, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. No stray hands there, missing that limiter on the handlebar, and the 2 Milwaukee Yamahas together in convoy, nose to tail. Conor Cummins and William Dunlop through. William Dunlop now 6th place, Conor in 8th, but we do need a couple more bikes through before we can confirm that. Dan Stewart through there on number 9. He is currently holding on to 11th place, but with 10 seconds now separating the top 7, what a tight race this will be. Michael Dunlop, are we going to see history being made again? Can he equal Ian Hutchinson feat for 2010 and take 5 wins in a week? Well, with only a second in it on lap 2, it's far too early to tell, but he's got his nose in front, even by a very, very small margin. 14 through now, Dean Harrison, he takes 10th place. Just splits James Hillier and Cameron Donald at the top end of that leaderboard as Dan Neen safely through on his second lap. He drops into a 13th place. We're now looking for the number 13 machine of Steve Mercer, and Dave Johnson, Ian Locker and Simon Andrews should be following behind. But Michael Dunlop has got the bull by the horns, but he hasn't got a very tight grip. Just 1 second split in him and John McGuinness. That was Steve Mercer through. Mercer holding on to 14th place at the moment, but the number 16 of Dave Johnson might have something to say about that. There's Johnson through now, and indeed he pushes Mercer down a place. Dave Johnson moves into 13th place. Dan Neen 14th, Steve Mercer 15th. So Glen Helen on lap 2. Michael Dunlop leads John McGuinness by 1 second. Gary Johnson 3rd, he's 6 back on McGuinness. Simon Andrews through now, closely followed on the road by Ian Locker. They don't make any impression on the top end of the board. Gary Johnson 3rd, Michael Rutter 4th. He's less than a second down on Gary Johnson. Guy Martin 5th, he's also less than a second down on Rutter. William Dunlop 6th, he is less than a second down on Guy Martin. Bruce Anstey 7th, he is less than a second down on William Dunlop. And Conor Cummins 8th, he is 10 seconds back on Bruce Anstey. James Hillier 9th, he is 1 second down on Conor Cummins, and making up the top 10 at the moment, Dean Harrison, he is 4 seconds back on Hillier. But look at those gaps, they are really, really tight. 18 and 33 here now, 18 is Ben Wiley, 33 is Sean Anderson. They're both safely through here on their second lap as Davey Morgan tips it into the left-hander. He makes the climb up towards Sarah's cottage. He is taking it nice and steadily around here, currently occupying 19th position. Ben Wiley 20th. But those gaps at the top, it'll be all action for Tim and the guys in pit lane. 58 comes through here now, Lee Johnston. Lee Johnston, he does indeed make it into the top 20. He is into 15th place. So a quick recap then on the top end of that leaderboard. Michael Dunlop leads John McGuinness by 1 second. Gary Johnson is third. He's 6 back on McGuinness. Michael Rutter fourth. He's less than a second back on Gary Johnson. And Guy Martin currently holding on to fifth, less than a second down on Michael Rutter. And now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
Hello, we're Bike Social. We're the new online home for bikers. Bikesocial.co.uk is an online community where you can share your stories, favourite routes, search for clubs, get involved with forums, find out the latest events and read exclusive racing news, plus the latest bike reviews. Bike Social is all about you, a social hangout created with you in mind. It's as social as you make it, so get involved and sign up today. Join in now at bikesocial.co.uk.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT Commentary is brought to you by Royal London 360. Manx Radio TT.
Jim Hodson's bike being wheeled away in the pits, as is Josh Brooks, the fastest ever newcomer. Well, it's developing into the TT Legend duel. We suspected it might be. Looking at Ballaugh Bridge, Michael Dunlop 0.051 ahead of John McGuinness, who is eking into that lead, and Guy Martin has got into third place ahead of Gary Johnson. Guy Martin 7.9 behind John McGuinness, but nothing between Dunlop and McGuinness. At Sulby, the speed trap 192.3 for McGuinness was the quickest. Martin quickest this time. Over to Ramsey.
Will it be John McGuinness leading on the road into Ramsey? And it certainly is. He's got ahead of James Hillier. John McGuinness into Ramsey. Just a fraction of a second now, the lead. And James Hillier tucks in behind them, but he hasn't got time to get anything off the face there, off the helmet. He's away. He just managed, I think, to just take the left hand up and rip one away. And here's Guy Martin now, and he's on the move as well, and taken over that thing from Gary Johnson and moved up into third at Ballaugh Bridge. So the next should be Michael Dunlop here. We've got a new leader at Ramsey. It's John McGuinness. And here's Michael Dunlop. He'll be informed of that. He's got ahead of Bruce Anstey, but Bruce Anstey sticking to him. It's only a fraction of a second, 0.232, but the new leader is number 3, John McGuinness. From number 6, Michael Dunlop. There's Cameron Donald through now. Cameron Donald, we'll slot him into a leaderboard place. Let's take the riders through. But we have a yellow flag, a waved yellow flag. Not quite sure what the situation is there. A waved yellow flag, but certainly we haven't seen anything, I must admit. But Michael Rutter is through. Michael Rutter goes through, but the rider is away now. Stopped up on the left-hand side there. I wasn't quite sure what was happening. But we have John McGuinness who leads by 0.232. And it looks as though it was Cameron Donald. Yes, was it Cameron? Stopped on the left-hand side, just going away from the hairpin, but I can tell you he's up and running again. So it must have been, like the other day, something wrong with the machine. It just spluttered maybe to a halt. We went out of our view on the left-hand side, but it was Cameron. Let's take these two through now, and then we can give you a top leaderboard, because it is Conor Cummins who's ahead of his teammate as they go through Ramsey, William Dunlop. So how do they figure on the leaderboard? We've already announced that John McGuinness leads by 0.232 of a second, a fraction of a second here at Ramsey from Michael Dunlop. Guy Martin 7 seconds down on Michael Dunlop. In fourth place, Gary Johnson 2 seconds only down on Guy Martin. We then have fifth, Bruce Anstey, who's only half a second down on Gary Johnson. In sixth place, number 8, Michael Rutter, half a second down on Bruce Anstey. In seventh, William Dunlop, 5 seconds down on Michael Rutter. In eighth, James Hillier, number 1, 3 seconds down on William Dunlop. We then have in ninth, number 10, Conor Cummins, 5 seconds down on James Hillier. It's then 10th, because we're expecting now, I would imagine, let's just wait to see, is this Dean Harrison? It certainly is. Number 14 is here at Ramsey now. Round, immaculate as ever. Lovely, lovely riding style from Dean Harrison. Where does he slot into? He's behind Conor Cummins by 10 seconds, I can tell you, but he's holding on to 10th place. And there's Dan Neen. Dan Neen is through. It's then Cameron Donald, but he will have dropped a little bit more after that stop there. Number 2, Cameron Donald. He was 13 seconds down on Dean Harrison here at Ramsey, but that will be more now. And then in 12th place, it's number 9, Dan Stewart, 1 second only down on Cameron Donald. He will have inherited that place, I would think, after the little problem that Cameron had here at Ramsey. 13th for Dan Stewart, 12th for Dan Stewart. Yes, that's been altered now. 1 second only down on Cameron Donald. Then there's David Johnson going through very quickly and goes a little bit wide, but got it anchored up and through. Now where does he slot into it? 13th place for him. 12 seconds down on Dan Stewart. That's David Johnson. Then it's 14th, number 12, Dan Neen, 4 seconds down on David Johnson. And then Simon Andrews could come into the reckoning as well. Number 17, Simon Andrews, because he will be the next, I would expect, into Ramsey. And bang on cue does he come in, tight to the inside as well, and round and away. And he slots into 15th place there, 10 seconds down on Dan Neen. Steve Mercer there should be amongst it as well, and Ian Locker as well. There's Ian Locker through. Number 15, Ian Locker through. How does he slot into it? 17th place for him. And probably we know he has gone through, Steve Mercer, so he slots into 16th place, 10 seconds down on Simon Andrews. Well, we looked away and we couldn't find out what the problem was. We didn't see anybody lying in the road or anything like that, as the yellow flag was waved to warn the riders that there was somebody involved just outside of Ramsey hairpin, and it was Cameron Donald. There's number 33 going through there. Now that's number 33, Sean Anderson, so he's moving up well. There's 18 into and Davy Morgan as well. So where do they slot into it? Well, we've got Sean Anderson into 17th place, Steve Mercer 18th, Davy Morgan 19th, Ian Locker 20th, and Ben Wiley 21st. And number 58 is through there. Number 58, Lee Johnson, he's going well. He's up to 15th here at Ramsey, only 5 seconds down on Dan Neen. From Ramsey back to the grandstand.
Hello, we're Bike Social. We're the new online home for bikers. Bikesocial.co.uk is an online community where you can share your stories, favourite routes, search for clubs, get involved with forums, find out the latest events and read exclusive racing news, plus the latest bike reviews. Bike Social is all about you, a social hangout created with you in mind. It's as social as you make it, so get involved and sign up today. Join in now at bikesocial.co.uk.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT Commentary is brought to you by Royal London 360. Manx Radio TT.
Lights on at Cronknamona for John McGuinness, Guy Martin and James Hillier. John McGuinness leading on the road and leading by 0.7 of a second over Michael Dunlop at the Bungalow. Guy Martin third, 7.7 back on Dunlop. Bruce Anstey, the man on the move, he's up into fourth and he's just 2.7 behind Guy Martin. John McGuinness and James Hillier are through Governors. They'll be coming on to Glencrutchy Road. Everyone's craning their necks and their heads towards the traffic lights, and they're going to come into the pits, and we'll keep an eye on the times as well, because this has been a quick lap. John McGuinness having to get the anchors on. John McGuinness is in. 131.272 for McGuinness. 131.272.
The gap was, Tim, actually the gap at Cronknamona was 1.7 that he had. Here's Guy Martin, he sneaked himself up to third. He's 4.6 seconds ahead of Bruce Anstey at Cronknamona. McGuinness's rear crew, the rear wheel was in, the spindle's in now, little spacer gets pulled back, the jackhammer goes. There we go, race 3, it says there, your helicopter's hovering overhead. And who's this? Mickey D, number 6 with Bruce Anstey, number 5. Bruce Praster's here now, but the race leader, John McGuinness, what's those times as they come into the pits though, Tim?
Yeah, into the pits. John McGuinness is 2.4 ahead of Michael Dunlop. Dunlop is 4.8 ahead of Guy Martin.
Apologies, Tim. him. James Hillier just remembering to clunker into gear. James is away. Guy Martin, well, he's still flying, but don't forget he's got Bruce Anstey to worry about now as well. And also Gary Johnson, who seems to have dropped away. Guy with a new rear tyre going in. Michael Dunlop's just a little bit further down from us here now. He's going to shoot off left, and here's Michael Rutter. Michael, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around about 6th or 7th place at the moment. Guy now being told to go, 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 go. Crowd rise for Guy Martin. Listen to that. Incredible. Hear that ratchet hammer's going once more. Michael Dunlop should be next to go. He is, and there's Anstey and Dunlop away as they came in together. They're all watching that speed limiter, this time 60 kilometres. Gary Johnson in. Gary,
I'll tell you what, there'll be another
go on.
cheer when I give you the lap time for Guy Martin there. 131.094 for Guy Martin on that last lap.
Absolutely brilliant. Here's Cam. Cam is in, right next to me here now. Cam goes right past, sorry guys. And Gary Johnson is the man. Here's Connor, here's the big man from Ramsey. He's made it here. Connor's back and he's through. So number 10, I think William is up there as well. Just spot the helmet as well. Okay, yeah, Cameron, looks like Cameron could be retiring there. He's told him to put no fuel in, so he had a problem, didn't he? And looks like could be Gary Johnson, could be a problem as well. It is. Gary Johnson, I think Gary is out. He is out. Oh, no, let's have a little look on the side. Oh, the rear, the right-hand side hanger, it's all broken off. Oh, dear Lord. On the hanger on the right-hand side of the machine, it's all snapped off, all the aluminium's gone, so there's no way back for Gary Johnson. He is a retirement, devastated, I think will be the word. We'll go to Tim O'Hanlon with those times in a second, but number 2, it looks like he could be out as we get William Dunlop away. Number 11, he's past us now on the Milwaukee machine, but Cameron doesn't look like he's going any further. Connor's in at the moment, but Gary Johnson, oh dear. Tim O'Hanlon.
Well, after the pit stops, John McGuinness does it again. He slick pit stop. He's got a 6-second lead over Michael Dunlop now after the pit stops. Michael Dunlop has a 10-second lead over equal third, 4 Guy Martin and 5 Bruce Anstey. And in 5th place, William Dunlop, only 4 seconds behind that pair. Up to Tim.
Well, confirmation, Gary Johnson and Cameron Donald retired at the pit. Sean Anderson retired at Grieber Bridge. Number 72, Mark Herbertson, retired at the pits also, as did Brandon Cretu. Let's give you the lap time then for John McGuinness, 17 minutes, 14.709 seconds. Michael Dunlop, 17 minutes, 18.535. Guy Martin, 17 minutes, 16.108. Bruce Anstey, 17 minutes, 18.656. As we came into the grandstand, 6-second lead leaving. It was a 2.4-second lead for John McGuinness over Michael Dunlop. It was 1.7 when they were back at Cronknamona. So John McGuinness was just putting the hammer down on the latter stages of that lap from Glen Helen onwards, and just marginally eating in to Michael Dunlop and increasing a lead. But it's slender, it's very, very slender, and Guy Martin is flying on that Taiko Suzuki in the opening 2 stages here on the Isle of Man. So the running order is John McGuinness leads. It's Michael Dunlop, Guy Martin, Bruce Anstey, Michael Rutter, Gary Johnson, James Hillier in 7th, but Johnson has retired. William Dunlop is 8th, he'll be 7th. Conor Cummins will be up into 8th. Dean Harrison will be up into 9th. Dan Stewart will be in 10th, and David Johnson will be 11th. Dan Neen in 12th. Pit stops, John McGuinness quickest, 53.212. Michael Dunlop, 54.515. William Dunlop, 54.631. Bruce Anstey, 55.785. They were way and above the quickest. Hillier next best at 57.153. But it's those slight margins that can win or lose Isle of Man TT racers. We've had some opening to this PokerStars Senior TT, but it's been worth waiting for. Let's go to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
Yes, thanks, Tim. What a race this is. Lap 3, Glen Helen, action fast approaching. I can hear engine noise. The crowd start to jostle, make their way ready for the cameras, and 2 on the road. It's John McGuinness leading James Hillier on the road, but McGuinness also leading the race, or at least he was at the grandstand. And them two right close together. James Hillier's just tucking in, maybe picking up a few pointers as John McGuinness shows him the way round at speed. And he is hanging on to the back of him as well. The time difference was 20 seconds, and it still is. But here's Guy Martin. He started a charge on that Taiko Suzuki He drops into second place, but here's Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey together. Dunlop indeed takes second place, Anstey third, Guy Martin fourth, and that's how it looks on lap 3 here at Glen Helen. John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop, but the gap is down. It's only half a second. Half a second separates John McGuinness and Michael Dunlop. Bruce Anstey, third place. He's 11 back on Dunlop. Guy Martin, fourth. He's just 2 back on Bruce Anstey. But there's a little bit more action to come yet. We need the Milwaukee Yamahas through here yet. And Michael Rutter as well. The machine does come into view now. It is Michael Rutter. He's safely through on his third lap, but he doesn't make it into the top 4, just hovering outside in 5th place at the moment while we await the arrival of William Dunlop. The 2 Milwaukee Yamahas were circulating in tandem. Will we see them together here on the 3rd lap? Quick update on Dave Madsen-Migdal. We've been having a little Miggy watch here. He was through us on lap 2, so he's still going, looking for finish number 101. Don't have any lap times for him though, I'm afraid. There is the first of the Milwaukee Yamahas, that's William Dunlop, and he is not inside that top 5. He is dropped down to 7th place. The second of the big Yamahas through, and that's Conor. He is just behind William Dunlop on the road and in 8th place on the leaderboard. So yeah, Dave Madsen-Migdal, number 64, keep your eye out for him, looking for finish 101, and he is safely through Glen Helen on his 2nd lap. He'll be well on the way up the mountain now, I'd imagine. John McGuinness, though, in charge, but not by much, less than a second, 0.537 of a second. Here's Dan Stewart on the Wilcock Consulting Honda. Stewart makes his climb up towards Sarah's cottage on the 3rd lap, but he is just clinging on inside the top 10. 9th place out of 9 through here so far, but of course Dean Harrison may well have something to say about that when he gets here on that number 14 machine. But yeah, half a second, lap 3, less than half a second separating the top 2. Here is Dean Harrison into the left-hander. Gets the power on, makes his climb away. He does indeed drop into 9th place. He is in 9th place now, Dean Harrison, just ahead of Dan Stewart. So the gaps, McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by half a second. Bruce Anstey is 3rd. He's 11 seconds back on Dunlop. Guy Martin 4th. He is just 2 seconds down on Bruce Anstey. And Michael Rutter 5th. He's 6 seconds back on Martin. There's Dan Neen. He's hanging on to 11th place after those pit stops. After Michael Rutter, we have James Hillier, number 1. He is in 6th place, just 1 second back on Michael Rutter. William Dunlop is 7th. He's 2 seconds down on Hillier. Conor Cummins, currently 8th. He is 20 seconds back on William Dunlop. In 9th, number 14, Dean Harrison. He's 12 down on Cummins. In 10th, number 9, Dan Stewart, 24 seconds back on Dean Harrison. And currently 11th is number 12, Dan Neen. That's the number 16 bike of Dave Johnson. He goes to 11th place, just pushes Dan Neen down 1, but that's a much faster approach from Steve Mercer. Not reflected on the leaderboard, though. He hangs on to 13th place on the number 13 bike. But McGuinness and Dunlop separated by less than a second. We're in for some entertainment if this race keeps as tight as it does towards the end. Bruce Anstey, 11 seconds back. He is capable of turning on the power towards the end of the lap. And Guy Martin, he is only 2 seconds away from a podium place. That's the number 17, Simon Andrews, on the RAF Honda. Andrews safely through here on his 3rd lap. He holds on to now 13th place. Ian Locker still going, 15th for Ian Locker. He is a little bit down on Steve Mercer, 18 seconds the gap there between 14th and 15th. But Ian Locker still circulating in what is his final race on the Isle of Man TT course. John McGuinness then leads Michael Dunlop by half a second. Half a second, that's a missed gear. A missed apex. The margin is so tight, but 3 together on the approach. 13, 18, 20, like that. Wow, that was some going. 33, Sean Anderson. 18 was Ben Wiley, and 17, Simon Andrews. 58 through now. 58 is Lee Johnston. He is running really well. He is up into a 13th place in between Dan Neen and Sean Anderson. McGuinness then leads Dunlop on lap 3 by half a second. Bruce Anstey third, 11 back on Dunlop. Guy Martin fourth, he's 2 back on Anstey. And in fifth place, Michael Rutter, just 6 seconds down on Guy Martin. Now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
John McGuinness's lead at Ballaugh Bridge up to just over a second, 1.004 ahead of Michael Dunlop. Then it's Bruce Anstey, 10.3 back. Guy Martin, 4.3 back on Anstey. Some more retirements. Number 43, Wayne Kerwin, retired at Greeba Bridge. Number 81, Raphael Pascalainen, has retired at Quarry Bends. And 24, Dan Cooper, has retired at the pits. Thank you. The writing like a prescription, I'm afraid, on that time there. Looking at the speed trap, no time to look at it. Let's go to Ramsey. Roy Moore.
Yes, well, looking down the road, the spectators stir just on the apex of the hairpin here, and what we're expecting to see interview very, very shortly is he's quick. John McGuinness is quick, but he's staying behind him as James Hillier, and right behind him. There's only a machine length difference as they go away. No time for the fly taking the rip off there. John McGuinness head down, James Hillier right behind him, and that lead at Ballaugh, virtually nothing, just 1 second in it. So we've got a bit of time to wait now. James Hillier there going well though, but certainly at Ballaugh he was only holding on to 5th place, but getting a bit of a tow as this is Guy Martin here now at Ramsey, and 1, 2 together as they were before. Michael Dunlop with Bruce Anstey right behind him. What is the time difference? It's John McGuinness. John McGuinness, well, it's disappeared unfortunately off our screen. John McGuinness, he holds a 1.424 second over Michael Dunlop, so a fraction increased. Bruce Anstey third, 10 seconds down on Michael Dunlop. Guy Martin fourth, 6 seconds down on Bruce Anstey, and James Hillier only 2 seconds down on Guy Martin. That's the top 5 through Ramsey hairpin. It's John McGuinness who holds on to a 1 second lead. 1.424 is the official timing here at Ramsey. And they're heading now onto the 3rd lap. So what is going to happen in this race? John McGuinness has certainly thrown the gauntlet down to Michael Dunlop. There's Michael Rutter now here at Ramsey hairpin, and he goes through, and he's holding on to 6th place there. Michael Rutter, 5 seconds down on James Hillier. That is the difference, but only 1 second in it, and we'll put the bungalow timing on to see what that is now. With the demise of Gary Johnson, it won't be as long to wait before they will be at the bungalow, and certainly we'll be able to give you the time difference there as they head out onto their 3rd lap, and then down through and onto their 4th lap as quickly as that. 1 or 2 retirements, always disappointing. Here's another machine interview now. That is William Dunlop. So William Dunlop well ahead of his teammate here at Ramsey hairpin. So it's Conor Cummins now, who's through his hometown and round on the Milwaukee Yamaha. And certainly there, what do they put them into position? Well, we've got William Dunlop only 5 seconds down in 7th place. On 6th place, Michael Rutter, and Conor Cummins 18 seconds down on William Dunlop. But just think about this, there's only 1.424 seconds in it between John McGuinness leading and Michael Dunlop in 2nd place at the moment, both on equal machinery here at Ramsey on lap number 3. So it's hard to imagine the standard of riding down through the field as well. Kieran Hankin was exceptionally quick through Ramsey, as there's number 9, Dan Stewart. Dan Stewart is through now. He's holding on to 9th place as Dan Stewart. He's 46 seconds down though on Conor Cummins. We haven't heard any indication from the pits there's been any penalty at all there. Certainly speeding in the pit lane. But Dan Stewart, 10th place for him. Dean Harrison might have something to say about him. That's the next machine interview, number 14. Here he is at Ramsey, same bit of tarmac he rides round every time round Ramsey. Very, very neat and tidy indeed. Back end there, fighting for grip as he goes out of Ramsey. And we have Dean Harrison. It looks as though certainly Ramsey hairpin is showing that Dean Harrison is holding on to 9th place, 17 seconds down on Conor Cummins, but 28 seconds ahead off in 10th place, number 9, Dan Stewart. That is the condition there. We can tell you that we're just waiting now for Michael Dunlop to go through the bungalow. John McGuinness has gone through, as has James Hillier. They're leading on the road. Obviously, there's Dan Neen through Ramsey. Dan Neen through Ramsey holds on to 11th place. I can tell you Guy Martin has just gone through the bungalow now, and Michael Dunlop is through the bungalow, and it's John McGuinness who still leads by nearly 2 seconds, 1.860 seconds. 10 seconds back at the bungalow. It's on Michael Dunlop is Bruce Anstey, and then it's Guy Martin, number 4, just 7 seconds. So a further second pulled out by Bruce Anstey, so he looks as though he's on the move as well. Another machine into Ramsey, though. James Hillier still holding that 5th place at the bungalow at 1.146 seconds, just 1 second in it between him and Guy Martin. But John McGuinness maintains his lead at the bungalow, lap number 3. It was virtually the same here at Ramsey Hairpin, just a fraction increased on the climb up to the bungalow, and they'll be heading well past the bungalow now, up Halewood Rise, up to the highest point of the circuit at Brandywell, and sweeping round the 32nd, down into Windy Corner, round the 33rd, and the spectators will have a great view there as they come into Keppelgate. They won't be all that far away. Another fast approach at Ramsey here, though. This could be number 17, Simon Andrews. Where does he fit on into our leaderboard? Holding on to 13th place is Simon Andrews, 21 seconds down, though, on Dan Neen. But what a battle at the front between the two Works Honda Legends machines and John McGuinness holding on to that lead, but only fractionally. Here's Ian Locker now coming into Ramsey Hairpin. He's got 3 and a lap, few laps, bits of a lap to go, and looks as though he's really enjoying it here. Where does he fit into our leaderboard? Because Davey Morgan and Sean Anderson and Simon Andrews has already gone through. Might have something to say about that. It's Davey Morgan who gets the advantage on number 33 here into Ramsey. Sean Anderson, and certainly just holds ahead of him. But with the news from Ramsey and at Cronknamona, they've gone through now, so they won't be too far away at the Royal London 360 Grandstand. Back to you, Tim.
John McGuinness and James Hillier, lights are on at Cronknamona. 13, Steve Mercer, a retirement at Kurt Michael, and Carl Harris, number 40, a retirement in the pits. What a jewel in the sun we've got here between the TT legends. Don't rule out Bruce Anstey or Guy Martin out of the factors yet. Can tell you that John McGuinness is 2.034 seconds ahead at Cronknamona. Bruce Anstey a further 10 back on Michael Dunlop, who's second. Bruce Anstey third, but we've got McGuinness and Hillier through Governors and coming on to Glencrutchery Road. Of course, so we won't have lap records this time. It'll incorporate the pit stops. Here's McGuinness, and there's Hillier right behind him. He's getting a good tow in the last lap behind John McGuinness. So McGuinness 124.443, 18 minutes 11.49 on lap 3. James Hillier 18 minutes 11.59, 324.431. Very little difference between them. Also now at Cronknamona, and we've got 3 of them on the road here. There's Guy Martin through on the Tyco Suzuki. There's Michael Dunlop ahead of Bruce Anstey, with 4 together. And let's look at the margins. John McGuinness at the grandstand, 2-second advantage over John McGuinness. Bruce Anstey 10.5 back on Michael Dunlop. Bruce Anstey is 6.7 ahead of 4th place Guy Martin. Guy Martin is 1.1 ahead of 5th place James Hillier. We await Michael Rutter to come through. Number 8 is now signalled there at Cronknamona, number 8 being Michael Rutter. Michael Rutter now coming on to Glencrutchery Road. He's through Governors. Will he maintain that 6th place he had at Cronknamona? William Dunlop and Conor Cummins also have their lights on at Cronknamona. Here's Rutter. And Rutter slots into 6th place. He's 8.7 though behind James Hillier. It was 9 though at Cronknamona. Another retirement to bring you. Number 55, George Spence, has retired at Craignabar. And we'll have a look at the grandstand speed trap times as well. Previously quickest was William Dunlop at 179.5. Guy Martin 176.2. See if there's any change to that. James Hillier went through at 177.1, so he's the second quickest through. Michael Dunlop, 176.2. There's William Dunlop, 173 this time. William Dunlop, 9 seconds behind Michael Rutter. William Dunlop in 7th place. And in 8th place, Conor Cummins. He's 17 seconds behind William Dunlop, his Milwaukee Yamaha teammate. Dean Harrison and Dan Stewart now. The lights are on for them at Cronknamona. So Bruce Anstey's lap time on the last lap was 18 minutes 10.8 seconds. Guy Martin 18:23.53. So good lap there by Bruce Anstey, incorporating the pit stop. Don't forget James Hillier 18 minutes 11.593. Michael Rutter 18 minutes 26.2. There's Dan Stewart through. He's quite some distance behind Conor though at 54.85. Dean Harrison's the one that could claim a top 10 spot, could move into 9th. Number 14 will await him, and we've got Dan Neen through Cronknamona as well. And that is Dean Harrison into the 9th place. He is 25 seconds behind Conor Cummins. The gap between William and Conor between 7th and 8th is 17. So it's John McGuinness who leads Michael Dunlop by 2.055 seconds. Bruce Anstey in 3rd. He's 10.5 back on Michael Dunlop. Guy Martin is 4th. He's 6.7 behind Anstey. James Hillier is 5th, 1.16 behind Guy Martin. And in 6th place is Michael Rutter, 8.75 behind Hillier. Then it's William Dunlop, Conor Cummins, Dean Harrison and Dan Stewart. That's Dan Neen through on the Marks Bloom Racing Suzuki. Dan Neen is 11th behind Dan Stewart in 10th place. Speed times in the most recent crossings go there. 121 for Dean Harrison. Let's go to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Here's John McGuinness and James Hillier through, still together. James Hillier sticking with John McGuinness, and he will definitely start picking up speed there. The speed to average speed grandstand to here is 136.5 for John McGuinness, 136.3 for James Hillier. So James Hillier, if he just sits behind John McGuinness, he will start to knock off positions. And that will be a fantastic result for him after this morning's win. Here's another 2-3 fast-moving bikes together. Guy Martin, Michael Dunlop, Bruce Anstey in that order. And McGuinness still leads Glen Helen on lap 4. The advantage now over Michael Dunlop, 3 seconds. Bruce Anstey 3rd. He is 10 seconds back on Dunlop. And James Hillier currently holding on to 4th place. He is 7 seconds down on Anstey, with Guy Martin 5th. He's 2 back on Hillier. We will have to see what other damage gets done to the top end of the leaderboard with William Dunlop and Michael Rutter yet. There'll be a couple of minutes before we get some action with those. I can tell you that on the Miggy Watch front, Dave Madsen Migdal is through Glen Helen on lap 3, so he is again moving ever closer to finish number 101. But for the leaders, there's a little bit of traffic up front. Here's Michael Rutter now. Rutter cleanly through here on his 4th lap. 6th place, so no alteration to the top 5. Just up ahead of the leaders, there is a little bit of traffic. I think 3 or 4 bikes. I picked 59. That's AJ Fenter come through here. But also up in front of Fenter are Neil Champion and Paul Duckett. And those guys will be, they'll need to be conscious of fast-moving traffic coming up behind them, because they'll get an awful shock when John McGuinness and James Hillier come roaring past them if they're not quite ready for it. And here is the first of the Milwaukee Yamahas. That's the number 11, William Dunlop. 7th place he drops into. And not too far behind him on the road, it's the big man, Conor Cummins, through here on his 4th lap. Drops into 8th place on the leaderboard. McGuinness, though, leads Dunlop by 3 seconds on this 4th lap of this 6-lap race. I can give you a quick update of the leaderboard from the grandstand at the end of lap 3. Making good progress up there was Stephen Thompson, number 20. Stephen Thompson, number 32, in 20th place, riding the People's Bike, so that's a good result for him. He is, I think, when we looked at the Glen Helen leaderboard from lap 3, which has now disappeared from the screen, I think Stephen Thompson was up to 17th here, which was a nice little run for him. John McGuinness, though, lap 4, leads Michael Dunlop. 3 seconds the advantage, but there are pit stops coming up. Dan Stewart comes through now. Stewart into 9th place on our provisional leaderboard, but I think Dean Harrison will be coming through shortly, as will Steve Mercer, and they may well affect that. Here is something going quick. It is Dean Harrison. He is cleanly through here on his 4th lap as well, and indeed he muscles his way in front of Dan Stewart into 9th place. 9th place he is, just 26 seconds back on 8th place Conor Cummins. 3 seconds the gap for McGuinness and Dunlop, though. We got more pit action coming up at the end of this lap, and again 3 seconds after 4 laps of this 37 3/4 mile circuit is negligible. So Bruce Anstey waiting in the wings in case anything goes wrong, but Bruce is going to have to watch himself, because coming up behind him in the tow of John McGuinness is James Hillier. He is only 7 seconds back on Anstey in 4th place. In 5th place, Guy Martin, the Taiko Suzuki, going well here today. He is just 2 seconds down on Hillier, but he won't have the advantage of a tow from John McGuinness as Dan Neen goes through, number 12. He is into 11th position, 37 seconds back on 10th place, Dan Stewart. So the place is up for grabs, certainly P1 and P2, but there's plenty of dicing lower down the leaderboard. 16 through there, Dave Johnson. He moves into 11th place, just pushes Dan Neen down 1 spot. The fight between Bruce Anstey, James Hillier and Guy Martin for that remaining podium spot will play itself out over these final 2 laps with just a few seconds in between. A quick recap then of the top 10. John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by 3 seconds. Bruce Anstey is 3rd, he's 10 seconds back. James Hillier 4th, he's 7 back on Anstey. Guy Martin 5th, he's 2 seconds down on Hillier. In 6th, it's Michael Rutter, he's 11 back on Martin. In 7th, William Dunlop, 8 seconds back on Rutter. In 8th place, Conor Cummins, 19 back on William Dunlop. 9th, it's Dean Harrison, 26 back. And 10th, Dan Stewart, 34 back. Now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
Hello, we're Bike Social. We're the new online home for bikers. Bikesocial.co.uk is an online community where you can share your stories, favourite routes, search for clubs, get involved with forums, find out the latest events and read exclusive racing news, plus the latest bike reviews. Bike Social is all about you, a social hangout created with you in mind. It's as social as you make it, so get involved and sign up today. Join in now at bikesocial.co.uk.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT Commentary is brought to you by Royal London 360. Manx Radio TT.
John McGuinness has increased the lead to 4 seconds at Ballath Bridge over Michael Dunlop, but interestingly at the Sulby Speed Trap, McGuinness looks to maybe have been held up by back markers. 165.3, Hillier's time down 2. Michael Dunlop's time through there, 189. But let's go to Ramsey.
Could be significant, could be a sign, but John McGuinness has made it to Ramsey anyway. James Hillier still right behind him, and virtually just a machine's difference as it was on the last lap. And away they go, the 8 cylinders chiming in as they head away. 1 Kawasaki, 1 Honda away to the waterworks. And what will be the time difference here? Well, it doesn't make any difference as yet. We just got to wait for the arrival of Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey. And there is a machine interview. This could be vital where the time was lost, 59 and 86 as they go through. 86 being James Hurrell and the other one. And there's now Michael Dunlop with Bruce Anstey right behind him and Guy Martin right behind him. 1, 2, 3. As quickly as that they go through, it's down to 3 seconds. Well, it's 3.903, so 4 seconds we would say. So a fraction of a second being pulled back by Michael Dunlop. Despite that slow speed down the Solby by John McGuinness, Michael Dunlop much quicker there, and certainly, well, it's not reflected in the timing because John McGuinness still leads here at Ramsey by the margin of 3.903 seconds. Nearly 4 seconds is the advantage to John McGuinness here at Ramsey. That gap between Bruce Anstey and Michael Dunlop remains at 10 seconds, 10.5 seconds, we'll say it. Within 4th place, James Hillier, 6 seconds back on Bruce Anstey, and Guy Martin a further 5 seconds back on James Hillier. It should be Michael Rutter on the other Honda Legends machine who is with us here at Ramsey, and it is. There's number 8. Sounding beautiful. Just listen to that going away. Right up onto the limiter going through, and Michael Rutter 15 seconds down on Guy Martin though, but holding on to that top 6th place. Number 8, Michael Rutter, the last through. That might change a little bit. I think he was ahead at William Dunlop at the Balaff Bridge by 8 seconds. So if anything, if William Dunlop has pulled anything back from Balaff Bridge here to Ramsey, it will only be insignificant, I would think. An 8-second advantage there, and Rutter still going well, but William Dunlop shouldn't be too far away from us here now, and Michael Rutter is holding on to that 6th place, because there goes William Dunlop now, and it's increased to 11 seconds. So Michael Rutter on the pace, and there's Conor now. So Conor slots into 8th place here, 16 seconds down on his teammate William. So an increase there. Michael Rutter showing that he's not as well, his return to the mountain course certainly going well, but 15 seconds down on Guy Martin, but 11 seconds ahead of William Dunlop, who in turn is 16 seconds ahead of Conor Cummins for 6th, 7th and 8th places. So that was Ramsey Hairpin, lap number 4. It's fuel again as they go in. We'll do a bit of switching about to make sure you don't miss that bungalow positions there to see what they are as they go through there. They won't be anywhere near there yet, I wouldn't have thought, but certainly it's going to be absolutely vital on the fuel this time round to see whether they can maintain that 4-second advantage for John McGuinness over Michael Dunlop. But we all know how quickly Michael Dunlop goes on that last lap, and it will be a flying lap as well. They're on their 4th lap now, pulling in for fuel. Another machine interview now, crackling on the exhaust as it comes through. That's number 9. Number 9 is Dan Stewart. So we've got Dan Stewart there holding on to that 10th place, but it'll all depend whether Dean Harrison can overhaul him. Yes, Dean Harrison is here now. Dean Harrison 33 seconds down in 9th place. On 8th place, Conor Cummins, but he holds a substantial 36-second advantage over in 10th, Dan Stewart. So no change there. I can tell you the lead is increasing at the bungalow. John McGuinness has gone through. Michael Dunlop is through. The lead now for John McGuinness is 5.356 seconds, and that 10-second advantage for Bruce Anstey that he's got to get back on Michael Dunlop remains the same. That is just floating between fractions of a second after 10, and certainly Bruce Anstey lying into 3rd place at the bungalow as he was at Ramsey Hairpin, with James Hillier holding on to 4th, 5 seconds down. So James Hillier has pulled a second back there on Bruce Anstey. Guy Martin through at 5 seconds, 5.938, nearly 6 seconds holding on to 5th at the bungalow. And certainly, well, that's as it was at Ramsey Hairpin. But the lead for John McGuinness now, 5.356 seconds at the bungalow on lap 4. That machine going through there was that of Dan Neen, so David Johnson should be next on the road. And bang on cue he is, number 16. So where do they slot into our leaderboard? Well, they're behind Dan Stewart. In 11th place is David Johnson. He's 11 seconds down on Dan Stewart. Within 12th, number 12, Dan Neen, 30 seconds on David Johnson. But the lead at the bungalow for John McGuinness over Michael Dunlop, 5.356 seconds. What will it be down there in the Royal London 360 commentary position at the grandstand?
Hello, we're Bike Social. We're the new online home for bikers. Bikesocial.co.uk is an online community where you can share your stories, favourite routes, search for clubs, get involved with forums, find out the latest events and read exclusive racing news, plus the latest bike reviews. Bike Social is all about you, a social hangout created with you in mind. It's as social as you make it, so get involved and sign up today. Join in now at bikesocial.co.uk.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT Commentary is brought to you by Royal London 360. Men's Radio TT.
Well, these modern day knights in their shiny armour will be coming into Gasoline Alley for the end of lap 4. It will be the final 7-second difference now at Cronknamona. John McGuinness 7 seconds ahead of Michael Dunlop. The gap back to Bruce remains at 10. Bruce Anstey in third. The klaxon sounds, and this will be McGuinness coming into the pits, and he's followed by James Hillier. What an education Hillier's had following John McGuinness around a couple of really fast laps. John McGuinness, we're waiting for the times just to come up. John McGuinness, we haven't got the time yet. We have now 131.127. Hillier 131.115. Back down to Chris.
Well, I can tell you they came in together. They went out together at the end of the second lap. They've been there the third lap and also the fourth lap. But it's 7 seconds at Cronknamona. The gap between 6 and 5 was 10 seconds. The gap between 5 and 1 was 3.5. And between 1 and 4 was 6.3. So it's all tight at the front. 17, 20, 26 seconds covers the top 5 here. John McGuinness getting some fantastic encouragement. Michael Dunlop, Guy Martin, Bruce Anstey in here now. Bruce, of course, in that third place at the moment. John gets the push. The crowd rise at the grandstand. Every time there's been an adjustment on that time that says John McGuinness is a bit further ahead, there's been a big cheer from the guys as James Hillier gets away, and he's going to follow him again for the next couple of laps. A new rear tyre going in for Guy's machine. Michael Dunlop in that second place, 7 seconds behind John, but will that have changed after the pit stop? Michael Dunlop just throwing the water bottle away, just chucking that out of his way. The guy's marks on the rear wheel, gets the chain over the top. He'll be getting the spindle in any second, gives the rear wheel a bit of a spin just to make sure that it's clear and everything up to thing, and then he gets a little, what would you call that? I don't know, it's like a little, like a ratchet just in there, then gets the torque wrench, and the torque wrench, the little socket fell off the end of the torque wrench, that fell on the floor. Quick change, he's got it on again, and everyone has left. It's been an early but a good pit stop there by all the crews, but Guy Martin maybe lost a little bit of time as Michael Rutter comes in, just dodge out of his way, and that is all going to change. But Michael Rutter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, round about 6th position, but Tim O'Hanlon working on those times. It was, what did we say? It was 7 at Cronknamona. As they came over the line, Tim will give us that. But through the pit stops, Tim,
I can give you 11 seconds after the pit stops, because Michael had a bit of trouble there coming out, so he's lost a few seconds. So 11 seconds, I can't see getting that back in 2 laps.
And what about the others?
Anstey,
do you want a bit of time?
Yeah, Anstey was 7 seconds behind Michael Dunlop, and Hillier 5 seconds behind Anstey. And then Martin 11 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's done that all in his head. Who's in here at the moment? It is Michael Rutter's in there at the moment. 2 more machines. That's the 2 Milwaukee boys, is it? It's number 11 that comes in first, and William in that position at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as Rutter goes away. And here's Conrad in, playing around with the left-hand side, just getting on that speed limiter. Take it nice and steady, 60 kilometres an hour. But what's left in this race? Is it 11 seconds going to be too much to crawl back? You never know. Tim?
Just remember those Super Sport last laps and the Super Stock last laps, and you'll know what Michael Dunlop can do. But fascinating and interesting, to say the very least, down there in pit lane. And John McGuinness is just as cool as a cucumber on that bike while everyone around him works away. So the gap coming in, it was 6 seconds to John McGuinness, the lead. So Dunlop had just taken a second out between Cronknamona and the grandstand. At the grandstand before the pit stops, Anstey in third, 11.2 back. Then it was Hillier, Guy Martin, Michael Rutter and William Dunlop in 7th, Conor Cummins in 8th. Give you the pit stop times. John McGuinness 51.335. Ben Wiley, yes, 51.504, good time for him. Bruce Anstey 52.957. Difference between McGuinness 51.3 and Michael Dunlop 54.9. So nearly a second and a half gained by the 19-time TT winner over the man who's won 4. One retirement we didn't have time to tell you about ages ago now. Jamie Hamilton, confirmation he retired at the pits. There's just been no time to give these out. The speed traps at the grandstand, quickest through at Sulby is still John McGuinness at 192.3 on that opening lap, and quickest through the grandstand will bring you by the magic of, well, it's 179.5 for William Dunlop. That was the lap before. James Hillier 177.1, Guy Martin 176.6, Michael Dunlop 176.6. 174.2. McGuinness is quickest through here, 174.8. Slower down, William Dunlop we had in 7th, Conor Cummins in 8th, Dean Harrison in 9th, Dan Stewart in 10th, David Johnson and Dan Neen coming in for their pits, their lights on at Cronknamona. That's bikes numbers 12 and 16. Also Simon Andrews now at Cronknamona. But we're going to have Dan Neen and David Johnson now, numbers 12 and 16, into the pits to refuel. But let's go to Glen Helen and Dave.
Yes, thanks, Tim. Welcome back for lap 5. There is no sign as yet, but the crowd do start to look down the road as a fast-moving bike approaches, and 2. A little flick to the right, into the left. That's John McGuinness and James Hillier in tandem. There is some traffic up ahead of them, though. Paul Duckett and Neil Champion not long through, so they'll be catching them probably on the run in towards Balaf, I would think. And just ahead of Paul Duckett and Neil Champion, also Eric Wilson is there. So there is some traffic up ahead. That may well disappear depending on when the second wave through of Michael Dunlop, Bruce Anstey and Guy Martin catch them. Because remember, Duckett, Champion and Wilson will all have to pit at the end of the lap. Here are some fast-moving machinery, though. It is the trio. Anstey first on the road, followed by Michael Dunlop. Oh, and they have caught some traffic. That's AJ Fenter through on number 59. Guy Martin in through behind Fenter. So Guy's hopefully going to get past AJ Fenter there on the run along Cronkavody. But that does indeed give Guy Martin, Bruce Anstey and Michael Dunlop some little problems there if they catch Venter on somewhere where they can't really pass. Here is one of the highest start numbers coming through. That's 86, James Hurrell. And the lead at Glen Helen on lap 5. John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by 8 seconds. In 3rd place, it's Bruce Anstey. He's 9 seconds back on Dunlop. In 4th place, James Hillier, 4 seconds, just 4 seconds back on Bruce Anstey. And at the moment, Guy Martin in 5th. He's 13 back on Hillier. But James Hillier, of course, is getting that tow along from John McGuinness, and only 4 seconds the gap between him and a podium spot. Bruce Anstey will have to concentrate hard on these closing laps because James Hillier is on the move as Michael Rutter comes through here now. He's safely through. Michael Rutter holds on to 6th place. He's 18 seconds back on Guy Martin. So 6th through. McGuinness leads Dunlop by 8 seconds. Bruce Anstey 3rd. He is 9 seconds back. And 4th place, James Hillier, just 4 seconds away from Bruce Anstey and nibbling at his tail all the way. I can also confirm that on the Miggy Watch front, Dave Madsen-Migdal through here on his lap 4. So just got 2 laps to knock off now before finish 101. Unfortunately, we can't give a time for him, so I can't say whether he's getting it close to his 120 lap. I suspect not, given his position at the lower end of the leaderboard, but he is still going and still looking for a finish. And there's a man looking for a finish. That's William Dunlop. He is through now in 7th place. 15.7 seconds down on Michael Rutter. Connor's through just after him on the road, but 21 seconds back on corrected time in 8th place. So the 2 Milwaukee Yamahas seem to be going the distance, but they're just a little bit off the pace. There's a minute and 8 seconds, I think, between the leader and the first of the 2 Yamahas. But 15 seconds away from 6th place for William Dunlop, just behind Michael Rutter. But John McGuinness, 8 seconds. Is Michael Dunlop capable of pulling that back? It was interesting to notice whether or not there was some traffic on that last lap that caused Dunlop to slow over the mountain, or perhaps he's suffering from a little bit of tyre degradation with this high track temperature here this afternoon. But McGuinness it is who is in charge. He was smarting on Wednesday after losing out in the TT0 race by just 1.6 seconds, and he will be desperate to get to the top of the podium this afternoon. 8 seconds his advantage with a lap and 3/4, I guess, to go, and is 8 seconds enough? I'm sure Michael Dunlop will be charging towards the end, and John McGuinness will have to work very hard to fight him off. And the beneficiary of that could just be James Hillier. Here's Dan Stewart through, and Dean Harrison right behind him, almost catching him on the road. Dean Harrison goes into 9th place, 38 seconds down on 8th place Conor Cummins, and 10th at the moment Dan Stewart, 47 seconds back on Harrison. But of course, some of the higher runners, I think Dave Johnson might be in there, that may just push Dan Stewart back 1 or 2 places further as he makes his way around here on his 5th lap. James Hillier, though, is looking to be the beneficiary, with sticking with John McGuinness basically since McGuinness passed him on the opening couple of laps. James Hillier has gradually nibbled his way up the leaderboard and now into the top 5 with just 4 seconds away from a podium position in the senior TT. What a carrot that is dangling in front of him. Lap 5 then at Glen Helen. John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by 8 seconds. Bruce Anstey 3rd, 9 down on Dunlop, and in 4th place, James Hillier just 4 seconds away from a podium. And now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
Hello, we're Bike Social. We're the new online home for bikers. Bikesocial.co.uk is an online community where you can share your stories, favourite routes, search for clubs, get involved with forums, find out the latest events and read exclusive racing news, plus the latest bike reviews. Bike Social is all about you, a social hangout created with you in mind. It's as social as you make it, so get involved and sign up today. Join in now at bikesocial.co.uk.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT Commentary is brought to you by Royal London 360. Manx Radio TT.
Still busy down in pit lane with the refuelings for the final 2 laps. Belaf Bridge, John McGuinness 8.3 ahead of Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop is 9.7 ahead of Bruce Anstey. Bruce Anstey is 3.02 ahead of James Hillier. What a red letter day this could be for James Hillier. He's won a race and now he's following the legend round. Let's go to Ramsey and Roy Moore.
Yes, following the legend round and looking for a podium place with only 3 seconds in it, but we're not interested in that. We want to know what the position is here at Ramsey, and it looks as though John McGuinness is still ahead on the road, about 2 machines length, but James Hillier is good on the brakes into Ramsey. But John McGuinness just about the same as they were before and round, and exactly the same line as they go away. Chimed them in and round, and certainly the lead at Belaf Bridge being 8 seconds. We'll be having to wait a couple of minutes, well, not a minute, about a minute. I would imagine the difference between we get here to find it. It's 20 seconds. There's one that I think that is number 66 that they have passed here. That's Paul Duckett, local rider Paul Duckett, who is Manx Grand Prix winner of the past. And number 77 is here with us now, by the look of it, yes, so they might get in the line. Neil Champion, because they're here, Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey, exactly as they were on the last lap. So what is the difference here at Ramsey? No change, 8.223 seconds. So no difference. There's Guy Martin through now. So Bruce Anstey has dropped a second on Michael Dunlop from the run from Belaf here to Ramsey, but the lead is still being maintained at that 8 seconds by John McGuinness over number 6 Michael Dunlop, who in turn holds that 10.5 second advantage over Bruce Anstey. Bruce Anstey now, but it's James Hillier, the man you've got to look for, because he's now pulled a second on Bruce Anstey for a podium finish on the run from Belaf here to Ramsey Hairpin. He's now only 2 seconds behind Bruce Anstey. Guy Martin 17 seconds behind James Hillier as they went through. 1 or 2 might just get in the way on the run up the mountain, but certainly after that I would imagine they'll have a clear run. But certainly John McGuinness maintaining that advantage here to Ramsey. There's number 59 going through now. We just saw him there through. That's AJ Ventnor. So as he was at Glen Helen there, he too has been overtaken by the leaders on the run from Belaf here to Ramsey Hairpin. Very, very fast approach. Michael Rutter is trying hard, I can assure you of that. Where does it put him though? It puts him in 6th place, but he's 25 seconds down on Guy Martin. But the bike sounds beautiful as it goes away from Ramsey here. So 6th place for Michael Rutter, 25 seconds down on Guy Martin. So the lead being maintained. Has Michael Dunlop got any answer to the Morecambe Missile, as he's affectionately known, as number 86 is here with us now? So 86 is James Hurrell. going through Ramsey Hairpin. He's got a fuel stop and a further 2 laps to go while the boys are out on their 5th lap here at Ramsey. So we'll be able to give you the bungalow times. I would imagine they'll be well up the mountain miles, sweeping round the mountain box as into Ramsey comes William Dunlop. So William Dunlop safely through Ramsey. The Milwaukee Yamaha sounding good. He has a quick look over the shoulder to see if he can find have a look at his teammate. But he is here now. That's Conor into Ramsey as well. So how do they slot into our leaderboard here at Ramsey? Well, it is in 7th place William Dunlop. He's 15 seconds down on Michael Rutter. And in 8th place, number 10, Conor Cummins, 21 seconds. The same difference as it was back at Belaf, down on William Dunlop. So it's John McGuinness maintaining his lead here at Ramsey Hairpin. 1 or 2 others know they're going quite well too. I think we mentioned Paul Owen, so he's still getting the enjoyment out of it as well. They are through the bungalow, I can tell you. John McGuinness and James Hillier, they'll be sweeping round that left-right sequence over the tram lines, bouncing through the tram lines, off the tram lines, tight to the right-hand side, and then flat against the stop up the mountain. Climb up towards Brandywell. John McGuinness through, so we'll just see what the difference is there, because Michael Dunlop won't be far away. We saw that big moment last night on the television where he lost the front end going in, certainly, and it's 9 seconds now, I can tell you, the lead. 9.5 seconds that John McGuinness holds the lead over number 6 at the bungalow, Michael Dunlop. 9 and 6.74 down, so we'll call it nearly 10. It's 9.5, nearly 10 seconds down, and the lead there being held by John McGuinness. Bruce Anstey maintains that 10-second down on Michael Dunlop, but there's only half a second in it between James Hillier and Bruce Anstey at the bungalow. So James Hillier is the man who's getting the advantage of that tow round. It was 2 seconds here at Ramsey Hairpin, but now it's only half a second with a lap and the trip down the mountain to go that James Hillier could get onto the podium after his win today. Guy Martin 21 seconds behind James Hillier, so that is the position, not from Ramsey, this is from the bungalow we're reporting on. John McGuinness still, number 3, still leads at the bungalow by 9.674 seconds over Michael Dunlop, who in turn is that 10.5 seconds ahead of Bruce Anstey. It's then James Hillier. Look out for that one. It could be all level. It could be James Hillier who's overtaken Bruce Anstey, and certainly they're having a battle on the road, Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey, but certainly John McGuinness towing James Hillier round, and certainly he hasn't let him go anywhere. Guy Martin still holds on to that 4th place at the bungalow, 21 seconds down on James Hillier. And then 6th place at the bungalow, it's number 8, Michael Rutter, 26 seconds down on Guy Martin. The reason we're giving you this, we want to follow this race as quickly and as we can round on various timing points. As Dan Neen comes in here, we've got Dean Harrison to go through as well. So we've got in 9th place Dean Harrison here. He is, this should be, no, he's gone through, my apologies, yet he's back to the grandstand.
Thank you, Roy. And it's Crognamona, John McGuinness and James Hillier. You can hardly separate those two this afternoon. The lights are on. Paul Owen, a 30-second speeding infringement in Gasoline Alley, number 45. Extraordinary race. We've had 4 laps in excess of 131 and 13 in addition to that, in excess of 130. Dave Madston Migdal not made the 120, 118.24 on lap 2. Hillier and McGuinness are through Governors, coming now onto Glencrutchery Road. They're going to flash past the grandstand. The gap's still 9.8 at Crognamona. What's it going to be at the grandstand? There's McGuinness, there's Hillier. And we wait for, obviously, Michael Dunlop to now come through. 125.2 for McGuinness. Hillier went quicker, 125.3. So at Crognamona, we've got Bruce Anstey, we've got Michael Dunlop, and also Guy Martin. Guy Martin fading somewhat, but when you've got in 4th place James Hillier going as quickly as John McGuinness, the leader, no wonder he's putting pressure on Bruce Anstey. 5 and 6 now indicated. That's Anstey and Dunlop coming on to Glencrutchery Road. There's Dunlop, there's Anstey. And the gap then at the grandstand, 9.8. It holds station between Crognamona, the 1.1 mile run down to the grandstand. But James Hillier is into 3rd place above Bruce Anstey. John McGuinness leads by 9.8 ahead of Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop is 10.5 ahead of James Hillier. James Hillier is 0.16 ahead of Bruce Anstey. Bruce Anstey in 4th. Guy Martin is 5th. A further 23 seconds behind Bruce Anstey. What a day this is for the man from Bournemouth, the 28-year-old. He's getting a lesson, apex to apex, from John McGuinness, the master of the mountain. He's followed him round now. This will be the 3rd lap in a row following McGuinness, and he's getting quick. He's getting that toe, and he'll be gaining confidence. He's got that win this morning in the lightweight. James Hillier, could he be on for a podium at the PokerStars Senior TT? Looking up, we can see that number 8, Michael Rutter, is now indicated, the 3rd of the Honda TT Legends riders, as coming down Glen Crutchy Road. That'll be the next machine we see. Here he is, Michael Rutter. Completed the hat-trick of TT0 wins, 3 in a row for Michael Rutter this week. Michael Rutter slots into 6th place. He's 27 seconds down on Guy Martin. They're on their last lap. Goodness knows what the times are going to be here with all the 131s and the 130s. If they keep going, it's almost guaranteed to be a race record, such as the speed we're seeing here in the PokerStars Senior TT. The jewel in the sun between the TT legends. John McGuinness definitely has the advantage. 9.8 the lead now at the grandstand going into the final lap. But just remember, those laps Michael Dunlop produced, the extraordinary Superstock last lap, and he did it again in the Supersport. But this is a bigger ask against the 19-time TT winner, John McGuinness. He's got his race face well and truly on today. He wants to get that 20th TT win. He's on his way, but Michael Dunlop, what a duel they're having. So, the lap times we can give you. John McGuinness, 18 minutes 4.279 for that lap 5, including, of course, the pit stop at the end of lap 4. Michael Dunlop, 18 minutes 8.025. James Hillier, 18 minutes 4.015 seconds. Bruce Anstey, 18 minutes 7.412 seconds. Guy Martin, 18:21.071 seconds. Michael Rutter, 18 minutes 29.228 seconds. William Dunlop, 18 minutes 32.721 seconds. Conor Cummins, 18 minutes 36.853. But John McGuinness, 125.2. James Hillier behind him, 125.3. Anstey, the battle there for the podium in 3rd. Anstey's time, 124.9. Let's go to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
Yes, welcome back, Tim. Just in time, there's John McGuinness and James Hillier again together on the road. Hillier's showing he's got a wise head on young shoulders there. His lap 5 was actually the fastest lap. And there we have 83 through, so there is a little bit of traffic around. That was Graham English, and I think up ahead we'll also be seeing Mark Miller and Nuno Catano. So there is a little bit of traffic ahead. That's going to help and hinder. It may help with that chasing pack for John McGuinness and James Hillier, but could, of course, hinder them at the same time. There's 64, Miggy Watch and Dave Madsen Migdal through here on lap 5. One more to go, but here come the cavalry. And there is traffic, 38, 6, 5 and 79. So in amongst all that, Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey. And Michael Dunlop now is in 2nd place, but the advantage is 11 seconds. 11 seconds between John McGuinness and Michael Dunlop as they start encountering traffic on their last lap. Guy Martin through here now. He's into 5th place. James Hillier does indeed hang on to 3rd. He is only 0.3 of a second ahead of Bruce Anstey, though. John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by 11 seconds. In 3rd place, James Hillier. He's 10 back on Dunlop. And in 4th place, Bruce Anstey, just 0.3 of a second down on James Hillier. What a ding-dong those two are going to have for that final podium place. But James Hillier put in a lap of 125.3. That was the fastest lap 5. So he has definitely made the right move by tucking in behind John McGuinness, letting the master show the way and reaping the benefits as he nicks past Bruce Anstey with just 1 lap to go. So 0.3 of a second. We've got 3/4 of a lap to go. Can Anstey make it back? 56 through there, Eric Wilson, as we do start to get into the traffic. Can also let you know that Sean Anderson pulled in here a short while ago as Michael Rutter comes through on his last lap. Michael Rutter through in 6th place, 26.5 seconds down on Guy Martin. Yeah, number 33, Sean Anderson, he pulled in here a little while ago. He hasn't left yet, so I'm guessing that's a retirement. That will be a bit of a boost, though, for the people who are lower than the 16th place he was holding. Ian Locker will benefit in his last TT race. He was holding on to 18th place at the last we checked. And also up into 16th is Stephen Thompson on the People's Bike, number 32. So there are some good rides being put in lower down that field. It's not all about the guys up front as Paul Duckett comes through here. He has another lap and 3/4 to go, though. All the action up at front with John McGuinness, Michael Dunlop, James Hillier. There's William Dunlop. 7th place for William Dunlop, 7th place for the Milwaukee Yamaha. Well, that means the big fella can't be too far behind them either. They weren't too far apart on the road. Here is something moving fast. It's red and white. It is the Milwaukee Yamaha of Conor Cummins. And Neil Champion through, number 77. Just a little bit of traffic there for the Yamahas to deal with. Dunlop and Cummins at the moment, 7th and 8th place respectively. But McGuinness leads on the last lap by 11 seconds from Michael Dunlop. James Hillier 3rd. He's 10 back on Dunlop. In 4th place, Bruce Anstey. He's 0.3 back on Hillier. In 5th place, number 4, Guy Martin, 27 seconds down on Anstey. In 6th place, number 8, Michael Rutter. He is 26 seconds down on Martin. In 7th, William Dunlop, number 11. He is 18 seconds back on Michael Rutter. And in 8th place, number 10, Conor Cummins, 26 seconds back on William Dunlop. We'll just scoot down the road a little bit and see how the guys are doing at Ballaugh Bridge. And at Ballaugh Bridge, the gap is now 12 seconds. John McGuinness pulled an extra second out on Michael Dunlop. So McGuinness leads up Ballaugh. He's 12 clear of Michael Dunlop. James Hillier still 3rd, 9.7 back on Michael Dunlop. And Bruce Anthony still 4th, just 5/10 of a second down on Hillier. That was AJ Fenter through on number 59. Again, he's been lapped. He's got a lap and 3/4 yet to go. But that gap, John McGuinness is holding steady, eked out in the thick end of a second between Glen Helen and Ballaugh as 2 quicker moving machines approach. That's Dean Harrison and Dan Stewart on the road together. Let's have a look and see where they go. 9 and 10 respectively on the leaderboard. Dean Harrison into 9th, 51 seconds down on 8th place Conor Cummins. And in 10th, it's number 9, Dan Stewart, who is 50 seconds further back on Dean Harrison. So it looks like John McGuinness on pole position to take a win in this senior TT and extend his great run of wins on the Isle of Man, picking up a win every year for the last several. 86 comes through here now. That's James Hurrell. Again, he's got a lap and a bit to go. But Michael Dunlop, unlucky. He couldn't make it 5 out of 5. But he hasn't half given it a good go, and still 11 seconds back. He's there to pounce if there's any problem at all for John McGuinness in the final 3/4 of a lap. Lap 5 then, Glen Helen. The leaderboard is John McGuinness leads Michael Dunlop by 11 seconds. James Hillier 3rd. He is 9 seconds back on Dunlop. In 4th, it's Bruce Anstey. He's 0.3 of a second back on Hillier. And in 5th place, Guy Martin, 27 seconds down on Bruce Anstey. And now back to the Royal London 360 commentary point at the grandstand.
At the Sulby Speed Trap this time around, John McGuinness 190, Michael Dunlop 188, quickest overall. Opening lap, John McGuinness 192.3. William Dunlop's that Milwaukee Yamaha's a rocket ship, 191.2. That is the one quickest through here. So is it McGuinness? Is it Dunlop? We're about to get the answers here. We'll get them first, an indication at Ramsey Hairpin. Let's go there to Ramsey Hairpin. We don't want to miss this action. Roy Moore.
We certainly don't on the last lap here. John McGuinness has probably been notified. This isn't him now coming into Ramsey, but it is number 75. But the next one is, and James Hillier has to go the outside there. John McGuinness is still ahead, and it looks like number 63 that was getting in the way. Well, not getting in the way. Alan Connor just happened to be at Ramsey Hairpin when John McGuinness went through, but it didn't affect him at all. We now wait to see, but that battle between Bruce Anstey and James Hillier, certainly that could have a bearing on it with the back markers just maybe at the wrong place. Number 42 isn't hanging about, and when you see their lap times after, and 87 is here, that's Nuno Catano, I think, and number 42 is Mark Miller. So the man who was on the electric bike, the Moto Sys the other day and retired, certainly getting it from it here, but they're as they were on the previous lap, and it's Michael Dunlop just ahead there of Bruce Anstey. So let's have a quick look to see what it is now. It is 12 seconds here at Ramsey. 12 and a half seconds the difference between John McGuinness and Michael Dunlop. James Hillier holding on to that third place, but he's only 8 seconds down on Michael Dunlop now. He's pulled a second back on the run into Ramsey as Guy Martin goes up the inside there of number 83 here at Ramsey Hairpin. We look to see that there's Graham English, and number 38 is here, so let's hear the note for the first time. 79 and 64, the last two to go there, John Ingram, and 64 was Dave Manston-Migdal, so he is through Ramsey, and there's number 80, so number 80 through, so they've got past all these, Michael Niblett, so the race leaders have gone through, and maybe they caught them at the time because there's a further second extended by John McGuinness on the run from Balaf Bridge here to Ramsey Hairpin. He now leads Michael Dunlop by the margin of 12.046 seconds. That is the exact margin here at Ramsey. James Hillier now is holding on to that third place. He's 8 seconds down on Michael Dunlop. So he is taking a second out of him on the run from Balaf here to Ramsey, with Bruce Anstey just 1.6414 seconds down on James Hillier. Machine interview now, that is the distinctive sound of Michael Rutter. So a good ride by Michael there, and he's holding on to that sixth place as he screams the Honda away from Ramsey Hairpin. 25 seconds down though on Guy Martin. Guy Martin in turn 31 seconds down on Bruce Anstey, but all eyes on that battle between James Hillier, number 1, and number 5, Bruce Anstey, with only 1.614 seconds, 1.5 seconds in it for that third place, that podium place. But John McGuinness, can he do it? Well, certainly 20 TT wins. He felt as though he should have done it the other day in the electric bike race, the TT0 race, but certainly was very, very disappointed. But he'll be absolutely elated if he can get that machine as number 50 back to the finish. As number 56 is here with us now. That's Eric Wilson. And this is William Dunlop, is it? Yes, it certainly is. So we'll be able to slot him in. Bike sounds well as it goes through. Distinctive sound of that Milwaukee Yamaha as it goes away from Ramsey, and he is holding on to that 7th place. 25 seconds down though on Michael Rutter. The next machine interview should be that of Conor Cummins, but he seems to be dropping a little bit of time. It certainly was the case, although Conor appears to have gone missing at Balaf Bridge. Number 66 is there. Number 66 going through. I think that was Paul Duckett again. So Conor's retired. We've just been informed there that Conor's retired. And so he was, the message has been passed on. Conor has retired, and certainly rider okay, as they used to say in the olden days. As we switch now the action to the bungalow to see what it is, we're still keeping our eyes down the road. So that will move William Dunlop. Well, it will be 7th place for him. Certainly hold on to 7th here at Ramsey Hairpin, William Dunlop, but 25 seconds down on Michael Rutter. We didn't quite catch the timing of that one going through. I wasn't certain who it was, but we've got that there. And now we can go to the bungalow and say that John McGuinness is maintaining that 12-second lead at the bungalow. He's 12 seconds ahead of Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop, in turn, is 8 seconds ahead of James Hillier. There's only half a second in it between Bruce Anstey, and we know Bruce Anstey is very quick over the mountain, and there's only half a second in it between him and James Hillier for that 3rd place finish, with Guy Martin through the bungalow, 35 seconds down on Bruce Anstey. So that's one to watch as they go through the bungalow. And certainly the next timing point will be Cronknamona, and that will be critical. But the race isn't over then yet, because you have then got the short shift through Signpost, Bedstead, the Nuke, Governor's Bridge, and with only half a second in it, anything can happen in that. This is Dean Harrison and Dan Stewart through. So where do they fit into Ramsey? Well, they fit into 8th place for Dean Harrison. He's 1 minute and 23 seconds down on William Dunlop. In 9th place, number 9, Dan Stewart, 50 seconds down on Dean Harrison. So that completes the top 9 through Ramsey, with the action now through the bungalow, and certainly on this last lap. Well, we knew it was going to be good, but we didn't expect it to be this good. 1 or 2 retirements in the early stages. Certainly Gary Johnson set the pace early on, but the old master, if you can call it that, took over, and John McGuinness leads. They're at Cronknamona, back to the grandstand.
Yeah, John McGuinness at Cronknamona, and James Hillier is keeping toe with him. Cracking performance by Hillier, but it's all going to be about John McGuinness. If he makes it now, that 1.1 mile from Cronknamona, he is going to get his 20th TT victory. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap speed and time as well. All eyes on the lap records for the senior, and also the outright lap record. Will we have that as well, just to complete the day? McGuinness won't care about that. All he's interested in is the win. The gap is at 10.5 between Dunlop and McGuinness at Cronknamona. 10.5 lead for McGuinness. Let's look for McGuinness now. Looking up Glen Crutchley Road, the clapping starts. There's Hillier, there's McGuinness, the master of the mountain. John McGuinness wins the PokerStars TT. The senior TT, his 20th TT victory. He'll be making his 41st trip to the podium, more than anyone in history, and a top step as well. Congratulations to the Morecambe missile. No lap record, 131.165. Hillier, 131.386. Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey now are coming on to Glen Crutchley Road. This will decide third when we see Anstey. Dunlop's going to have the second place. Applause for the 4-time winner. Now Anstey's gone through ahead of him. And let's see who's got third. Anstey gets third. Anstey is just 0.9 ahead. Let's go to Chris.
John McGuinness is here, and I think it is confirmed Anstey's third. I think he is. I think Hillier's going to be fourth. So, well, disappointment for James, but here we go. The man is making his way back up the return road. Win number 20. A lot of people doubted him all week. So many phone calls for interviews and people saying, is John McGuinness finished? Is John McGuinness finished? And I said, nah, let's get the senior out of the way first. Let him do the business. He's making his way up that return road, and that grandstand which is down there is absolutely packed. So John McGuinness wins from Michael Dunlop and Bruce Anstey on that podium yet again. That Marty Marlowe comes in and all the gang, they'll be happy with that. And what sort of reaction is John McGuinness going to get? There's Becky, there's the kids ready to rock. Here we go, he's here. That's Michael Dunlop in, here's McGuinness, and here's Bruce. So it's a Honda 1, 2, 3 once more. John McGuinness gets his 20th TT win. Mind out the way, please, on the road, let the guys through. Becky gives the team a bit of a hug, and Neil Tuxworth with a smile on his face yet again. Little Maisie straight in, little one. John's little one straight in, and let John get off the bike. Let's get the bike into this winner's enclosure and let's speak to him. Let him taste that champagne as a winner for the 20th time. John McGuinness, what sort of reaction is he going to get when he walks down here in a second? A big hug from the wife. We can say that now, of course. All the spectators, every time there was a gap mentioned here at the grandstand, you lot out the rest of the circuit, a big cheer went up, and Michael Dunlop straight into John McGuinness and giving him a big, massive hug. But every time through the sectors there was a time change, like it was 3.6 and 4.8, etc. John McGuinness got a massive cheer, and Michael Dunlop straight in. He gets a big cheer from all the crowd here. But here is the senior TT race winner. I think that might be his brother there, actually, just good. His brother, of course. And look, we have a special helmet for John McGuinness to celebrate that win. McGuinness times 20. The guys from Shoei, I'm sure, have done him proud. Here he is. I've never seen it like. And Clive Padgett jumps on his back. Brilliant scenes down here. Oh, fantastic. We'll let him get in. We'll let him get his thoughts together a little bit. And let's get the reaction from the winner. with that fantastic looking lid and doesn't half. Mark, you need to get a picture of that lid. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. Go on, Stevie, follow him in. Let Stephen Davison get the official pictures. Marty Marlowe gives him a big round of applause. John McGuinness walks towards his bike and the crowd are on top of the toilet once again. I've never seen so many people here, never mind the centenary. Owen Hutchie did his 5, but this is fantastic. John McGuinness in. Bruce has a big smile on the face as well. The special shoey lid. And Mark, if you want to get in here and get a picture of this lid that they've made, especially with McGuinness times 20 on there, you crowd here are the first to see this. Kept under wraps, and he goes over to speak to the guys. There's the one glove catch. Where's he got the other one? And this is the right one going next. Catch, good catch, that man, girl, woman, person. We'll let him take this lid off. There's the D strap under. Do you want a minute? Nah, nah. John McGuinness, 20. It says it right there on the helmet. Congratulations.
Whoa, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, if there's one to win, it's the senior. I thought I was not going to get one all week. Had a great week, but just not been able to pull one out of the bag. But if you're gonna choose one, it's probably the senior. And
you're speechless. I know. We'll give him a second.
No, just the reception out on track, mate, was incredible. You know, everybody waving all the way around. The last lap was a sight to be seen. Thank you so much to the spectators that cheered, waved me all the way around. You know, just incredible conditions, brilliant. Never seen the track in good shape. My bike was awesome. 2 fantastic pit stops, Slayton and Jules, and Aaron did a phenomenal job. I was patient this time, not messing around with speed limiters, not getting too frustrated. You know, we did the Joey Dunlop thing on Sunday, and now we pulled off a win, so awesome.
And a new race record, not a lap record, but a new race record as well. 1 hour, 45 minutes, 20.0, 130, what was it? Go on, tell me that again. We'll get it in a minute. Who cares? You're a senior TT again. You get the hands back on the big girl.
Who cares about the speed, mate? When you cross the line thirds, that's the one. That's the.
Have you ever seen a crowd? Have you ever seen a crowd like this at the TT? No. Never mind the centenary, but this.
No, not at all. I mean, just coming out onto the start and finish, people were yipping and whistling and cheering. It's like, it's incredible. You know, it's incredible atmosphere on the Isle of Man all this week. You know, lap records been smashed, race records been smashed. You know, it's a Honda 1, 2, 3 again, Honda Legends team. I can't thank them enough. You know, I'll be 42 next year, and hopefully they'll still have a little bit of faith left in me. I still feel mint. I still feel sharp. On that last lap, I hit every apex, didn't make any mistakes, and yeah, it was brilliant. You know, it was fantastic. I don't know whether maybe I held James Hillier up a little bit at the end there, because I think he was scrapping for the last podium, but that's the way it goes. He passed me going into the nook, and it looks like Bruce has nicked it, so my teammate, so job's a dream.
Job's a dream, John. Tell us about the rest of the race, though. I mean, the pit stop's fantastic. Every time you came in for the pit stop, big, massive cheers. Every time there was a gap announced on the radio, oh, it's up to 4.8 at Balaf, it's up to 6 at Ramsey. The crowd...
Hopefully, you know, we save one of the best races till last, you know, and I'm just dead proud to have done it, you know. It's massive thanks to Shoei as well. I've got a chrome bling Mick Pint times 20 helmet there, all my sponsors on it, and
you didn't know about that, did you?
No, I didn't know about it, but it's a real nice touch from Shoei. You know, I'm a loyal person. I've been with Shoei a long time. I've been with all my sponsors a long time. I've been a Honda rider for a long time, and you know, they're all like family to me, and you know, it's just great. It's just fantastic. You know, you know, after it got stopped at the beginning, I wasn't quite as quick on the second run, and you know, old Ian McIntosh at Ballacrane does me board. He gave me a bit of a thumbs down on the first lap. I thought, geez, you better get my finger out. And, you know, I didn't panic too much, as I've been in that position before. Pushed and just concentrated right to the end. And no, it's just the icing on the cake. Brilliant.
20,
yeah, that's pretty special, isn't it? It just, I mean, you know, we go away from the TT now and not very a real happy chappy, you know. I mean, worked hard all week along with all my team have, and I know the medics have, the marshals have, all the organisers have. I think they put a fantastic event on. I think I've never seen so many people on the Isle of Man. I think the Isle of Man is an amazing place, you know, and if you're listening out there around the world, you must try and make sure you come at least once in your life and see it, because, you know, to see these bikes flying around at 200 miles an hour on the streets like that is something to behold, and I just hope that from this morning everybody makes a full recovery from the accident down at Bray Hill. But I'm going to have a big beer tonight. I'm gonna have lots of beer. I think you probably find me on the promenade at 5 o'clock in the morning, laid face down in a pile of chips, cheese, and gravy, looking at a disgusting mess.
Ladies and gentlemen, John McGuinness, senior TT winner. Well, that says it all, doesn't it? Wring its neck, McGuinness. It says gas on as well. You see the little signs up there. And a big round of applause. And let's jump in and have a word with Michael if we can. Wasn't to be the 5, but hey, 4 wins in a TT week, Michael. Incredible.
Yeah, it was a good old run. I really enjoyed that race. John rode lovely today, and that's the long and the short of it.
What about the battle you and Bruce having on the road? Bit of crack, bit of fun, trying to get past each other here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, I think that was the. I had John on sights for the first 3 or 4 laps, and I just hit the wrong back markers at the wrong time, and just got held that wee bit, and I lost a few seconds on the pits and stuff like that there, and John just kept battering along as thing. But look, we knew fine well when the Superbike race that John was going to come strong, so I wasn't that bothered. I read well. The bike was 100%, and I'm going home with 4 wins in a second. Sure, what more can you ask? You know what I mean? 100%. As they would have been nice to do the 5, yeah, it would have been, but was it my day to do it? Obviously not. So I'll come back again, and I'll have another rasp at it.
Having a rasp at Milan tomorrow?
I don't really. I don't think so. The 600s and bits there, so I doubt. Obviously, you can only ride 600 there, so I doubt I'll be there. But I say a big thanks to my lads there. Worked hard and done a great job on the wee bike.
Michael Dunlop, congratulations, 2nd place in the senior TT.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. Cheers. Getting a great reception as well from the crowd. Sorry, Gary, just jump in and maybe grab a word with Bruce if we can now. Brucey, telling all the stories to the boys. Tell everyone around the world what you can that's clean.
Can't repeat any of that. No.
Yes, you can. Clean it up. What was it like, the race you and Michael having on the roads? Good fun?
No, I just enjoyed it. Again, I got off to a slow start and he caught me. I thought, right, I'll just put my head down, follow him. And that's about it, really. I just followed him until the last lap, and then it all got a bit exciting from there.
Just a little bit exciting. John, Michael was saying he was catching back markers in the wrong sort of places. You catching that as well?
Yeah, I had 1 or 2 in the wrong place. I thought, oh, God, I'm going to lose it here. But I knew I had to get past Michael. It was like he was just slowing me up a bit, so I just got him up over the mountain somewhere, and then just absolutely nailed it all the way down the mountain.
I don't know what the official gap was at the end, Eunice, if you can tell me in my ear, but I think it was only about 0.6 at the bungalow. You were actually in 4th behind James Hillier.
Yeah.
So you were actually 4th at the bungalow.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's when I got a clean bit of track from the bungalow down, and that's, yeah, I gave it everything I had then, so.
Bruce Anstey coming back next year for more TT madness?
We'll see.
Oh, we'll see. I don't like that. So we can give that official gap. I'm sure it wasn't really much. It's a 7.5 behind him, but what ahead of Hillier? We need to be 0.097 of a second. That's tight.
I'm here, aren't I?
You're here. Bruce Anstey, congratulations. Well done, Bruce.
Cheers.
Thank you. Well done to Bruce, well done to John, and well done to Michael. PokerStars Senior TT. Tim, up to you.